The haughty neighbor sisters from years ago are now kneeling and begging me to be their husband. They're even willing to give their first time to me voluntarily. And it's not just them, even the cold, noble, and beautiful female CEO. To the internet goddess with millions of fans, they are all willing to become my playthings, simply because the apocalypse has arrived. 90% of the world's population has turned into zombies, but thanks to sleeping at home, I managed to survive. At the same time, I awakened the beauty encyclopedia system. As long as I conquer high-score beauties and light up the goddess map, I can receive rewards. Seeing this, a wicked smile played on my lips, because in this house, there just happens to be a pair of sisters who meet the system's criteria. The older sister, Chen Jiai, beauty score 96. Favorability at 20. Reaching 60 will light up her goddess map. Maintenance count 0. Younger sister Chen Jiadao, beauty score 95. Favorability at 15. Maintenance count 0. But I know very well that these two sisters are extremely cold. During 10 years of living in the same rented house, we haven't greeted each other more than 10 times. Now that the apocalypse has just broken out, approaching them now would definitely not end well. These two sisters usually don't know how to cook, so they basically haven't stockpiled any food at all. At most, they only have a few bags of snacks, so I plan to just leave them alone for a few days and see. And so I drank it. I drank the body enhancement potion from the newbie gift pack. I took the Tang sword I was given and began practicing day and night until the third night after the apocalypse broke out. I felt the time was ripe. Just as I was about to open the door, I heard a knock on my room. I opened it and saw the older sister, Chen Jiayi. "Jiang Wei, could you lend me some food?" Perhaps due to the sultry weather, at this moment a few drops of sweat rolled down Chen Jiayi's cheeks, running down to her shimmering collarbone. She looked incredibly alluring. She seemed quite nervous. 3 days of the apocalypse have passed. It has completely left the sisters' supplies, utterly depleted, with nothing left at all. To be precise, they ran out last night, but they tried to sleep for the hunger to endure. But when they woke up, there was still no phone signal. It was no other choice. For her sister's sake, she had to take a risk and come find me. I answered decisively, "No problem." This immediately caused Chen Jiayi, who had prepared so many words, to be stunned. "It's perfect timing. I was just about to cook. You two should come over and have some food." Having said that, I turned around and went to the kitchen to cook. At this moment, Chen Jiayi looked at my busy figure in the kitchen and suddenly realized this man is much more handsome than before, radiating a powerful masculine aura. Congratulations, host, Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability towards the host has increased. Current favorability is 30. Hearing the system notification, a faint smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. My conquest plan is now halfway successful. With this type of woman, using force won't work, so I plan to use persistence, letting it sink in over time. In less than half an hour, I finished cooking 1 meat dish and 1 vegetable dish. The fragrant aroma of rice quickly attracted the younger sister, Chen Jiadao, run out. "It smells so good. Brother Jiang Wei, your cooking is amazing." After 3 days of snacks, Chen Jiadao was about to throw up. Now getting to eat meat, she was so moved she almost cried. Congratulations, host, Goddess Chen Jiadao's favorability has increased by 5 points. Current favorability is 25. Brother Wei, thank you so much. You are truly a good man. This girl is really adorable, giving me a good guy card even when the apocalypse is here. Hearing that, I couldn't help but smile. Beside her, Chen Jiayi also smiled slightly. When her sister is happy, she is happy too. At the same time, her gratitude towards me increased. Congratulations, host, Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability towards the host has increased. Current favorability is 35. I find this quite interesting. A typical sister complex indeed. Favorability can even increase like this. Did you both check your phones yesterday? This disaster is global. It's not just here with us. It's the same in other countries. Those zombies have turned the world into an apocalyptic scene. The two sisters nodded. Last night, they took advantage of the remaining signal to search online. Even cyberspace has fallen. Netizens everywhere are posting images of zombies. Their level of horror is even more terrifying than what they saw yesterday. If I hadn't come home to stay yesterday, I would probably be like my classmates now. Most of Chen Jiadao's classmates have turned into zombies, biting anyone they see. In a dorm, if just one person transforms, the others can hardly escape. Chen Jiayi was the same. Yesterday, she checked her group messages and learned several colleagues had met with misfortune. As the three of them shared the situations they were aware of, I felt nothing at all. But the more the sisters heard, the more terrified they became. Their already haggard faces grew even paler. They felt the hope of being rescued growing slimmer by the day. The afternoon of the 5th day of the apocalypse. Since their meal the day before yesterday, the two sisters haven't had anything to eat. "Sister, I'm so hungry. Seeing her sister holding her hungry belly, biting her lip hard, Chen Jiayi was heartbroken. For 2 nights, she had been woken up by hunger many times. She witnessed it all. In 2 days, the sisters had only 1 meal. The rest of the time, they just drank water to survive. Should we go borrow some food from Brother Wei again, sister? He must have plenty, and Brother Wei is so kind. Chen Jiadao had a pitiful expression, like an innocent girl who didn't understand why. Since the 3 of them finished talking, they hadn't seen him come out again. He just stayed cooped up in his room. No one knew what he was doing. Moreover, the 2 sisters were naturally shy, so they didn't have the heart to knock again. Most importantly, Chen Jiayi understood clearly that Jiang Wei's food, no matter how much, belonged to him alone. What right do we have to expect him to feed us? And this is the apocalypse, after all. To put it bluntly, he's a stranger, neither friend nor relative. There's no reason for him to keep taking care of us, and we share no blood relation. But seeing her sister so hungry, she was dizzy. She still gritted her teeth and stood up, heading toward my room. Dao, wait a moment. There'll be food soon. With 2 knocks on the door, I opened the room door. Jiayi, is something wrong? I had just finished my workout. Heat radiated from my body with a restless masculine aura. This caused Chen Jiayi's face to flush like jade. It took a long while before she spoke. Shang Wei, let's cooperate and go out to find supplies together. Hearing that, I couldn't help but look at Chen Jiayi differently. She didn't come to borrow food, but wanted to venture out to find provisions. Aren't you afraid? What's the use of fear? I can't just stand by and watch my sister starve to death. Chen Jiayi regained her composure, though her face was still slightly red, but mostly there was determination. Either you help me open the door, and I'll go out alone. I'll give you half of whatever supplies I find. How about it? Jiang Wei didn't answer immediately, but in the look I gave the girl before me, there was a hint of admiration. Knowing full well the outside is crawling with terrifying zombies, yet still daring to go out for food, I recalled the system's introduction. Truly a top-tier sister complex person. Actually, you don't need to do this. You probably know I still have plenty of food, right? Yes, I know. But that all belongs to you. Chen Jiayi nodded rationally, having no intention of treating Jiang Wei's food as something that naturally belongs to her. If it were some other delusional little fairy girls, they would have surely said something ridiculous. I can give it to you, and you don't need to pay me back. Then what do you want from me? Chen Jiayi understood in her heart. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. She didn't believe Jiang Wei wanted nothing from her. Sure enough, in the next second, she saw Jiang Wei's eyes wandering over her body. Chen Jiayi has a tall figure, about 1.68 meters, a perfect goddess height. Her figure was also nearly perfect, long, snowy white legs, deadly attractive with even the slightest movement. Chen Jiayi immediately understood Jiang Wei's intentions. He actually wanted to possess her. Chen Jiayi's first reaction was shame and anger, but before she could react, Jiang Wei stepped forward and grabbed her small hands firmly. Sincere eyes, Jiayi. I've liked you for a very long time. Are you willing to be my woman? Facing Jiang Wei's soulful confession, Chen Jiayi, who was just fuming with embarrassment, now stood there stunned, rooted to the spot. For a moment she forgot even to struggle to get away. If Jiang Wei had directly used food to coerce her, she would have never agreed, even if it meant death. But she never in a million years expected that Jiang Wei would actually confess to her, especially in this apocalypse on the brink of collapse. I have some food left. I can give it all to you too, so that you both can survive. More. I'll also take responsibility for taking care of you and your sister from now on. I can also go out to search for supplies. I have enough ability to protect the both of you. Jiang Wei's voice was firm and full of strength, and hearing that I could take care of her sister, Chen Jiayi indeed felt immediately swayed. She might not care about herself, but she couldn't help but think of her sister. However, with her current physical condition, the hope of going out to find food was nearly zero. Even if she were lucky enough to find some this time, what about later? What would she do? Just sit still and wait for rescue? Truthfully, nearly a week has already passed. Chen Jiayi no longer had any hope of being saved. If rescue could come, it would have come long ago. Additionally, thanks to the food borrowed yesterday, Chen Jiayi was immensely grateful to Jiang Wei. It was no different from saving the lives of both her and her sister. The only thing that puzzled her was why before the apocalypse broke out, she didn't see Jiang Wei express any feelings for her at all. She quickly found the answer herself. Surely it was because before the apocalypse, the gap between the two of them was too large. So he didn't dare to speak up, that's it. It must be so. Once she had thought it all through, the way Chen Jiayi looked at Jiang Wei gradually changed. He had loved her in secret for so long, even until the apocalypse, before offering to take care of the two sisters. Chen Jiayi felt an indescribable surge of emotion in her heart. Jiang Wei's image suddenly became tall and magnificent. Ding! Congratulations, host. Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability is 40. Jiang Wei had no idea that in such a short time, the woman before him was inflating his image so crazily in her mind. In just a moment, she had conquered herself for me. If not, I probably would have given her a few kisses already. At this moment, Chen Jiayi saw Jiang Wei's Tang sword, leaning against the wall after last night's practice, along with a pile of training equipment. Being smart, she understood the situation immediately. Are you planning to go out? Yes, that's right. Relying on others is not as good as relying on oneself. Instead of waiting for rescue, we should take the initiative. Jiang Wei's voice was full of determination. One sentence made Chen Jiayi's breathing quicken. She blurted out, "I'll go with you." Jiang Wei didn't doubt her work capability, but exploring outside is, after all, very different from going to work. One slip-up and you could lose your life easily. I'm not in the habit of letting my woman take risks. I told you I have enough ability to take care of you. Despite being rejected, Chen Jiayi felt a sense of full concern. This, for her, a woman who had to raise her sister alone since childhood, was a feeling she had never experienced before. He likes me. That's why he doesn't want me in danger. Chen Jiayi's eyes suddenly turned red. Jiang Wei had originally prepared for the worst-case scenario. If he couldn't convince the older sister, then he would try shifting his focus to the younger sister. One is sister crazy, the other is obsessed with her elder. I have to get at least one system reward from these sisters somehow. But in the next second, I saw it. Chen Jiayi unexpectedly threw herself into his arms. Jiang Wei, thank you. I agree to be your woman. Feeling her slender body trembling and crying in my arms, I couldn't help but hug her waist, bowing my head to have a taste. Soft and sweet. Chen Jiayi was truly a novice in this matter. Her actions were extremely clumsy. For 2 whole minutes, Chen Jiayi felt as if she were about to run out of breath. Seeing Jiang Wei's hands becoming increasingly bold, she hurriedly pushed Jiang Wei away. Don't. It's still daytime. Chen Jiayi's face was as red as a gak fruit. Her breath was still heavy. Ding! Congratulations, host. Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability is 50. Although Jiang Wei was still craving more, he didn't press her further. After all, she's already like a fish on my cutting board. There's no need to rush right now. Take these snacks and give them to Dao Dao first. She must be very hungry. Let me go cook a few more dishes. Tonight we'll have a great feast, since I have to go out tomorrow anyway. Jiang Wei brought out all the food. Then he hugged the woman before him tightly, softly whispering in her ear, "Bathe and clean yourself tonight. I'll wait for you in my room." One sentence made Chen Jiayi's face burn hot, but she still nodded slightly, and softly replied, "Yes." Her attitude was already crystal clear. That bashful face made Jiang Wei reluctant to let go. This was the best and most filling meal for the two sisters, since the apocalypse broke out, eating and drinking to their heart's content, and Chen Jiadao, who still didn't know anything, even more grateful to Jiang Wei. Wow, Brother Wei is so good to us. In the future, if there's a chance, I must definitely repay him well. Don't you think so, sister? Seeing her sister so happy, she felt happy as well. She lovingly stroked her sister's hair, nodding as she replied, "Yeah, I'm here. I'll repay your brother Wei on your behalf, and that will happen tonight." Thinking about what was about to happen tonight, Chen Jiayi hesitated for a moment but didn't say it out loud. It's better if Dao Dao doesn't know. I'll tell her tomorrow. Chen Jiayi thought to herself. Night quickly fell. In the room next door, Jiang Wei stopped training because he had to go out tomorrow. Tonight, I need to rest well and regain my strength. At this moment, a soft knock sounded at the door. Jiang Wei immediately opened the door like lightning. Chen Jiayi stood bashfully at the door. Jiang Wei, from now on, I and my sister leave everything in your hands. Yeah. In the next second, she couldn't say another word. Don't worry. I'll take good care of you and Dao Dao. Without waiting for her to finish, I directly hoisted her beautiful legs onto my shoulders and walked straight into the room. This part isn't suitable to watch. I'll skip it for everyone. Early the next morning, I woke up very early to check the rewards. After a night of diligent maintenance, Chen Jiayi, who had been repaired 3 times, was still sound asleep. By now, Chen Jiayi's favorability had reached 70 points. I successfully lit up Chen Jiayi's individual goddess map and received the 3F Space King skill reward. What a bountiful harvest of a night. Please stay home and rest well today. Wait for me to return. I gently tapped Chen Jiayi awake, spoke tenderly, and she replied, I'll wait for you. You must stay safe. Seeing the concern in my woman's eyes, Jiang Wei smiled slightly. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. After simple packing, Jiang Wei prepared to set off. Before leaving, Jiang Wei specifically told Chen Jiayi not to open the door to anyone. In this harsh survival environment of the apocalypse, ferocious zombies are scary. But the scariest thing is still the human heart. To say the least, this pair of sisters alone is already extremely eye-catching. Standing behind, Chen Jiadao watched their actions. Her face was full of disbelief. How did they become so close after just one night? Their relationship seemed to be even better than with her, the younger sister. However, although her sister looked very tired, she radiated a glowing vibrancy and vitality, as if she had just undergone a total transformation. She looked like an entirely different person. Sister, the two of you. The girl couldn't believe her eyes. Jiang Wei just smiled slightly without saying anything. Chen Jiayi had to speak up herself. Dao Dao. From now on, you have to call him brother-in-law. After confirming it was safe through the peephole, I began to step out of the room. Just as I stepped out, I saw a zombie corpse sprawled on the ground. This is the zombie that I personally beat to death on the day the outbreak started. I beat it so badly it was deformed beyond recognition. However, I still recognize who this zombie was. It's the old landlord, Wang. This old man is dead. I wonder if his wife is still alive. I muttered to myself. I've met his wife a few times before. She's definitely a Ferrari among old cars. A very eye-catching pair of headlights. I looked up toward the landlord's door across the hall. It was very quiet, yet. After my body enhancement, my senses became extremely sharp. I could feel someone inside staring at me. Seeing that, a smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. I didn't expect this woman to still be alive. Well, I'll go clear out the zombies first. Right after, I took the tang sword and began slashing wildly. Quickly, I fought my way from the 15th floor down to the ground floor. I observed the situation downstairs for a moment, discovered there were only a few zombies at the supermarket entrance, so I planned to storm the supermarket immediately to loot everything. Just as I was about to go, I suddenly saw in the building number 6 opposite, someone used a white bedsheet to write SOS, a distress signal. Judging it was a woman who, out of selfishness, used lipstick to write that there were survivors in building number 6. Jiang Wei thought for a moment and decided not to go there yet. Searching for supplies today is the most important thing. I'll go check it out later when I'm free. To rescue helpless goddesses, I don't mind taking a risk to explore. After clearing out the zombies upstairs, I began sweeping all the way down. In just a blink of an eye, I had cleared all the zombies in the entire building. Building number 5 where I live is only about 200 meters from the supermarket. With a body as enhanced as mine, I could get there in less than 10 seconds, so I immediately sprinted like the wind. Upon arriving at the supermarket door, I suddenly felt something wasn't quite right. The back door of the supermarket had been destroyed. It seems someone got here first. There were still 4 corpses on the ground. They looked like former supermarket employees. I wasn't surprised. This apartment complex has 6 buildings, with so many residents, over 1,000 lives. Inevitably, some lucky ones would survive. That's just perfectly normal. Entering the supermarket, I saw several shelves had been picked clean, mostly all kinds of snacks, things that were easy to carry away. But necessities like rice were still intact. Now it all belongs to me. Right after that, I collected all the supplies into my system space. Chicken, duck, fish, pork, even generators and fuel. I didn't even spare the shelves themselves. Soon the entire supermarket was empty. I was very pleased with my masterpiece. Just as I was about to turn and leave, I saw 7 or 8 thugs heading toward me. They had come to transport supplies. However, just as they reached the entrance, they saw the supermarket that was full of goods just now had in the blink of an eye become completely empty. The group thought they were seeing things. Looking closer, the supermarket was indeed cleared out. They immediately flew into a rage. Damn it! Who gave you permission to touch the things here? Everything here belongs to Brother Yao. Daring to touch Brother Yao stuff? Are you tired of living? The whole group shouted noisily. Wielding knives and clubs, they directly blocked Jiang Wei at the door. Though they didn't understand where the goods had vanished. They knew without thinking that this guy must have done it. Brother Yao, Jiang Wei muttered. I recall there really was a guy nearby called Brother Yao. He was a mob boss who ran casinos and loan sharking. If you don't pay your debts, he'll draw blood immediately. That's Brother Yao Wang DeLong. This Brother Yao works with extreme cruelty. Rumor has it quite a few who borrowed from him and couldn't pay back in the end were taken to donate, drained of their blood until dry. Some business owners were even driven to jump off buildings. I didn't expect that he would still be alive even now. And from the looks of it, he's completely abandoned all morals. Still living quite a carefree life, aren't you? It seems good people truly don't live long. While disasters live for 1,000 years, I've already figured out who these people are. Xiang Wei didn't want to waste any more time here. Since you've already seen me, then come at me. Having said that, Xiang Wei drew his Tang sword and beckoned them with his index finger. Damn it, he actually dares to fight back. Brothers, charge. Hack him to death for me. 7 or 8 men around him charged all at once. They looked fierce and aggressive, but to an awakened ability user like Xiang Wei, they were nothing more than clay chickens and pottery dogs. Dealing with these ordinary people was truly too easy. In just a moment, they were all lying scattered on the ground as dead as could be. Near a window in Building 1, not far away, a man was also witnessing the combat power. Jian Wei's terrifying strength left him stunned and speechless. What the hell is that? Since when did that brat Jiang Wei become so fierce? If Jiang Wei were here, he would definitely recognize him. This man was the Liu Junji he knew. That damn manager. He had withheld at least a month of his salary. After the apocalypse struck, he immediately offered his own wife to Yao Ji in exchange for the chance to manage the supermarket. Though everyone despised him, he felt no shame and even took pride in it, always considering himself the supermarket manager. He lived quite a carefree life, but your move just now directly cut off his livelihood. One should know that during these past few days of the apocalypse, dozens of them, all relied on this supermarket to survive. If Yaogi found out the supermarket was gone, wouldn't he hack him alive? Thinking of that, Liu Junji couldn't help but shiver. No way. I must report this to Yao Ji immediately. That damn Jiang Wei, daring to cause trouble for me. Sooner or later, I will make sure you die. On the other side, you've pushed through the zombie siege and returned to your own front door. Just as you were about to open the door, something unexpected happened. The door of room 1201 opposite suddenly swung open. A woman stood at the doorway. Long hair cascaded over her shoulders. Her features were delicate and refined. Her thin pink jacket could not hide her proud, ample bosom, detected a top-tier goddess meeting the criteria. A virtual panel that only you could see appeared before your eyes. Goddess by G. Beauty score, 95. Maintenance count, 0. Age, 32. A top-tier teacher, possessing a peerless bust, endowed with the innate saintly MILF body. Before the apocalypse, she was a foreign language professor at Donghai University. Married for 5 years. Meets the system requirements. Host, please illuminate the goddess map quickly. Yes. The person standing before him right now is that 32-year-old woman, the landlady and the proud school belle sisters next door. Now kneel down and beg you to be their daddy, even willingly offering up their first time. And it's not just them. Even the beautiful icy female CEO and the internet goddess with millions of fans are all willing to become your playthings. Jiang Wei guessed that the person hiding behind the door, secretly watching him before he went downstairs, was likely this very woman. What puzzled him was that this woman was still intact. This made him feel a bit suspicious. Was it that she didn't want to? Or was the landlord Wang Sheng simply incapable of performing? While you were deep in thought, Bai Jia looked at the backpack on your shoulders and spoke. Jiang Wei, did you just come back from downstairs? Before returning from the supermarket, Jiang Wei, to avoid suspicion, had intentionally used a large backpack to carry some supplies. So it appeared as if he had a very bountiful harvest. But in reality, most of the supplies were safely stored in his subspace. Yes, that's right, Bai Nuna. Is something the matter? Jiang Wei smiled suggestively. Noticing that Bai Nuna's attention was entirely fixed on the backpack on his back, he immediately understood her intention. Wants to borrow food? But he wasn't going to be the one to speak first. Could you give me a little food? I'll pay for it. Bai Nuna looked a bit nervous. Her face was filled with haggard exhaustion. It was clear these past few days hadn't been easy for her. Humph, this woman is still so naive. She still doesn't understand what the apocalypse truly means. Bai Nuna, the end of the world is here. Do you really think this pile of money is worth anything now? It's too rough even to use as toilet paper. Jiang Wei spoke without any politeness. Being rejected, Bai Nuna's face flushed with embarrassment. Then, what do you want? Money is all I have. I have nothing else to give. The woman spoke with a hint of grievance. Her captivating eyes were already turning red. Bai Nuna, you still have one very precious thing. What? Bai Ji looked confused. She only saw Jiang Wei's mysterious smile. His eyes began to roam over the body of this woman in a wanton manner. Your bold, hungry gaze made Bai Ji realize something instantly. You want me? Bai Ji was in disbelief. Years of education in etiquette and morality made her feel a surging sense of humiliation. She resisted instinctively. No, that's impossible. I could never do that. That would be a betrayal of my husband. Goddess Bai Ji's favorability toward the host has decreased by 100. Current favorability, 90. Heavens, just one sentence, and I'm already hated to this extent. But the way this woman talks, she clearly still doesn't know that her husband turned into a zombie long ago, and that he already crushed his head with a hammer. Bai Nuna, I'm not forcing you into this. Think it over at your own pace. After all, surely you don't want to starve to death, do you? You flash a wicked grin. But to show my sincerity, here are 2 loaves of bread for you. Consider it a down payment I'm providing in advance. Taking 2 loaves of bread out of his bag, he tossed them toward Bai Nuna. With them tossed like that, Bai Nuna finally understood Jiang Wei's intentions completely. A heavy sense of shame enveloped her. She didn't say another word. She just bit her lip and silently picked up the bread from the floor. Message me once you've thought it through. I'll always be waiting for you. Jiang Wei didn't know if the woman heard him. Watching her silhouette, walking back to her room with those exquisite curves, Jiang Wei felt a sudden surge of heat within. Damn it, I need to get back to my room and blow off some steam. That woman is truly a temptress. Knock, knock. After 2 taps on the door, there was immediate movement inside, but they didn't open the door right away. They were very cautious. It seems the sisters took his instructions to heart. Jenny, it's me. Hearing Jiang Wei's voice, the 2 sisters inside finally let out a sigh of relief. They hurried to welcome Jiang Wei into the house. Are you okay? Looking at this woman who now belonged to him, the woman who was already in his grasp, her eyes were filled with deep concern for him. Jiang Wei chuckled and pulled her into his arms. Don't you know my capabilities by now? What could possibly happen to me? Don't. Jiadao is still right here. Wait until we're in the room to do it. Behind them, Chen Jiadao stood there with a pout, watching her sister and Jiang Wei, acting all lovey-dovey. She didn't know exactly what she was feeling. Since Jiang Wei went out earlier today, her sister had told her the whole story about how Jiang Wei confessed his feelings. Hearing that the 2 of them were in love and that her sister wasn't being coerced, Chen Jiadao actually wasn't that angry, but she knew in her heart her sister had surely agreed mostly for her sake. Yet seeing the corner of her sister's lips curve into a happy smile all day, seeing her days off while looking at the door, she knew that her sister definitely had feelings for Jiang Wei too. Because of that, she was genuinely happy for her sister's happiness. Moreover, Jiang Wei promised to take care of both sisters. She had nothing left to complain about. Jiadao, hurry up and call him brother-in-law. Brother-in-law. Chen Jiadao's face turned beet red. It was the first time she had uttered those words. Jiang Wei saw the girl's nervousness but didn't mind. I have to give my little sister-in-law some time. And so, he dumped all the supplies from his backpack out. Just this pile of items alone was enough to feed the 3 of them for several days. The 2 sisters were overjoyed. But wait, there's more. Jiang Wei waved his hand again. The floor was instantly filled with supplies from his subspace. It was so much that it was dazzling. From now on, the 2 sisters finally didn't have to worry about food or clothes. But most of their astonishment came from the fact that Jiang Wei could pull supplies out of thin air like a magic trick. Oppa, how did you do that? You're so amazing. Chen Jiadao's eyes were brimming with admiration. She hurriedly gave him a thumbs up. Her small cherry-like mouth opened wide into an O shape in surprise. She had almost been bitten to death by zombies once, so she understood the terror of those monsters very well. And yet, her brother-in-law could bring back so many things all by himself. Goddess Chen Jiadao's favorability toward the host has increased by 10. Current favorability, 35. Jiang Wei thoroughly enjoyed the admiration from his little sister-in-law. Shen Jianyi also looked astonished. But then Jiang Wei looked at her and said, I told you that I'll take responsibility for caring for both of you from now on. I'll make sure you live well, even in the apocalypse. Even better than before the world ended. Though she had heard this once before, this time it felt completely different. This man had truly taken her words deep into his heart. This moved Chen Jianyi profoundly. She couldn't help but offer up her red lips. Jiang Wei, thank you. This kiss was incredibly deep and sincere. Congratulations, host, goddess. Chen Jianyi's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability, 75. After a period of celebration, Jiang Wei gave a rough explanation about possessing superpowers and his personal subspace. After all, one was already his woman, and the other still needed some time to develop further. Then isn't brother-in-law a superhero? It turns out his little sister-in-law is a huge Marvel fan. Jiang Wei smiled and nodded. The 3 of them ate and chatted animatedly. A while later, Chen Jianyi said she needed to use the restroom. You quietly followed after her. Why did you come in here? You smiled gently, closing the door behind you. I thought you might need a helping hand. The scene here isn't quite poetic, so let me help everyone skip forward 2 hours. Chen Jiadao felt something was off. Strange, what's wrong with her? She's been in there for so long and hasn't come out. Even brother-in-law. Is it taking that long just to check on her? I wonder what kind of mischief those two are secretly up to. Chen Jiadao pouted in dissatisfaction. That expression on her sweet face looked incredibly adorable. As she spoke, she stood up and walked toward the restroom, but the closer she got, the more unusual she felt. Faint moans began to reach her ears, and as she approached the door, the sounds became clearer. She leaned in to listen. No matter how innocent she was, she understood what was happening. In an instant, her face turned bright red. Naughty brother-in-law, always bullying us sisters. She grumbled a bit and clenched her small fists. After thinking for a moment, the girl reached her hand down. By the time Zhang Wei stepped out, it was completely dark, carrying the fast-asleep Chen Jianyi into his sister's bedroom. But he found that his little sister-in-law, Chen Jiadao, wasn't in the room. He went to the living room to check. There he saw that the girl had fallen asleep on the sofa. The once proud school Belle sisters next door now kneel down and beg you to be their daddy, even willingly offering up their first time. And it's not just them. Even the beautiful icy female CEO and the internet goddess with millions of fans are all willing to be your playthings. Right now, you are looking at your little sister-in-law sleeping on the sofa. Since she's at home, she's wearing quite comfortable clothes. A short-sleeve white t-shirt. The shirt was quite long, just enough to hide the athletic shorts underneath. Perhaps because she had just finished practicing her dancing, beads of sweat still lingered in her hair. Zhang Wei intended to cover her with a blanket to prevent her from catching a cold. Unexpectedly, after only a few steps, she woke up with a start. Brother-in-law, where's my sister? Chen Jiadao was still groggy. She stood up and gave a long stretch. Seeing that, you narrowed your eyes and looked. She's definitely a dancer. This figure of hers is even slightly superior to her sister's. Your sister was too tired, so she fell asleep. I see. Chen Jiadao nodded. But as she thought about what happened earlier, standing outside the restroom door and performing for herself, her small face turned crimson. Brother-in-law, I'm going in to check on my sister. Saying that, the girl dashed away without looking back. Zhang Wei rubbed his nose. Am I really that scary? It was late at night. Zhang Wei used the ingredients he gathered today to cook a sumptuous meal. With a whole supermarket's worth of supplies in his hands, he was very generous when it came to cooking. He made 8 savory dishes and a soup. When he finished, it was almost 10 p.m. Just at that moment, Chen Jiadao was helping her sister walk out. After an afternoon of your assistance, she had to sleep until now just to find the strength to walk. Seeing the two sisters approaching, Zhang Wei didn't feel the slightest bit of awkwardness. He chuckled and warmly invited them both to sit down. Feeling well rested, are you tired? Let me massage your shoulders. Chen Jianyi couldn't help but shoot him a glare. She wouldn't dare let you massage her shoulders again. She had no idea where you got so much experience to be so unreasonably energetic as soon as you came home. However, looking at the fruits of Zhang Wei's labor on the table, she still secretly admired this man. He really is outstanding, competent, yet also knows how to care for others. A long-lost sense of security enveloped her once more. Ding dong! Congratulations, host. Goddess Chen Jianyi's favorability toward the host has increased by 5. Current favorability, 80. A random reward has been sent to the system's subspace. Hearing the system's notification, Zhang Wei chatted with the sisters while eating. Less than greater than, while silently calling out in his mind. Less than greater than. System, open my status panel. Less than greater than. Host, Zhang Wei. Illuminated. Less than greater than. Goddess Chen Jianyi. Skill, virus immunity. Starry Night Walker. What the hell is Starry Night Walker? Starry Night Walker. A random reward recently received by the host. Under the shroud of darkness, the host's speed, strength and stamina, stealth and agility will be significantly enhanced. To put it simply, you are invincible. Host, please experience it for yourself. Not bad. Seeing the word invincible, you were so happy you couldn't stop smiling. The meal ended near midnight, after seeing the two sisters to their bedroom. You sat alone in the living room, with a Tang sword placed right beside you. Your posture was incredibly alert. You had a premonition that someone might come to raid you tonight. This wasn't just paranoia. Because of the incident with Yao Ji earlier, his intuition told him that it definitely wasn't over. At 2 a.m., Chen Jiadao suddenly appeared in pink baby doll pajamas, stepping out of the room. Oppa, why aren't you asleep yet? She tilted her head. Her puzzled expression was simply adorable. You hadn't intended to tell the sisters anything, to keep them from being frightened. But since he was discovered, and she had asked, Jiang Wei decided to tell her about the day's events and his suspicions. Her first reaction wasn't fear. Instead, she looked at him with eyes full of emotion. So brother-in-law is staying up to keep watch. Protect me and my sister, right? Before he could even react, the girl burst into tears. In the next second, she lunged straight into his arms. Appa, you're so good to us sisters. Chen Jiadao's tears fell like rain, soon soaking a patch of Jiang Wei's shirt. Congratulations, host, goddess. Chen Jiadao's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability, 45. But that wasn't the most critical point. The critical point was that while she was crying, her entire body was trembling with each sob. One should keep in mind that she was right there in his embrace. This was truly going to be the death of him. Your gaze toward Jiadao gradually changed. You shifted your body and pinned Jiadao down onto the sofa, undoing her pajama buttons one by one. But just as you reached the very last button, you sharply heard the roar of zombies, echoing from downstairs. Your premonition wasn't wrong at all. Someone was indeed coming. This was like a bucket of cold water over his head, caused him to snap back to his senses immediately. Jiang Wei immediately signaled to Jiadao, who was still in his arms. At this moment, Jiadao might not have even noticed. But regardless, her small face was getting redder and redder. While he was wondering what was wrong with Jiadao, he heard her tiny mosquito-like voice, Oppa, that thing of yours. As she spoke, she used her slender finger to point at that spot on him. What the hell? You were startled before finally reacting. Then, blushing, you silently cursed it for being so shameless. But thinking about the enemies downstairs targeting him, you didn't have much time to explain. Jiadao, someone is coming. Don't say anything. Be a good girl and stay in the room. Lock the door tight. Don't open it until I call you, understood. Those words made Jiadao realize the gravity of the situation immediately. She no longer had the heart to be shy. She hurriedly warned, Brother-in-law, you must be careful. My sister and I will be waiting for you to come home. Her words were full of worry. Finally, after a moment of hesitation, she blushed and added, If anything happens to you, then Jiadao won't want to live anymore either. As she spoke those words, Jiadao's anxious face was filled with determination. It made Jiang Wei feel a bit amused, watching her. This girl is truly silly in an adorable way. He couldn't help but ruffle her hair. Don't worry. Trust me, your brother-in-law will be just fine. Having said that, you went to the window and looked downstairs. Sure enough, there were many dark figures. With your new Starry Night Walker skill, you weren't affected by the darkness at all. There seemed to be about a dozen of them. By now, they had already bypassed the zombie pack and entered Building 5 where he lived. After thinking for a moment, you didn't clear the furniture blocking the door. Instead, you jumped out of the window, onto the balcony of the floor below. Meanwhile, downstairs, Yaoge's underlings, under the leadership of Wang Xiaohu, Yaoge's younger brother, were rapidly making their way up the floors. The guide was none other than Jiang Wei's former manager, Liu Junji. Liu Junji, are you sure that guy lives here? You dog, you're not lying to me, are you? No, never. I used to be his manager, so I've been to his house several times. His home is room 1501 of this building, sir. Liu Junji looked absolutely pathetic right now, completely devoid of the arrogance he had before the end of the world. Not to mention his face was swollen and bruised from being beaten. His body was covered in injuries from the assault. He was covered in blood. Earlier this afternoon, right after he reported the news to Yao Ge flew into a rage and almost had him beaten to death. If it weren't for his wife arriving just in time to intervene and cooperating with Yao Ge by performing an adult-style play on the spot with him and his brother to help soothe Yao Ge's anger somewhat, then his miserable life would have been over long ago. Damn it. Facing Liu Junji's pleas, Wu Ge stepped forward and delivered a kick. I was asking about those sisters. Who asked you to talk about that brat? As Wu Ge spoke, he delivered several more painful kicks. Kill Jiang Wei and bring those sisters back. That was the secret order Yao Ge had given them, and that was the reason they were here tonight. If we go up there and don't see those sisters you mentioned, then you'd better start preparing your own coffin. Very quickly, under the lead of Hu Ge, a group of people marched aggressively. They headed straight for the 10th floor stairwell entrance. Others, when we storm the room in a bit, chop that brat named Jiang Wei into pieces for me. I want to feed his corpse to the dogs, and capture those beautiful sisters and bring them here. After Brother Yao is finished with them, all of you will get a turn. Just line up one by one. Ha ha ha, the stairwell was filled with Brother Huss' arrogant laughter. Yes, boss. The lackeys were also brimming with confidence. They had never even touched those sisters before. Just the thought of it was exhilarating. Several lackeys couldn't help but rush ahead. But as soon as they shone their flashlights, they saw a figure, sitting on the steps of the 11th floor. In the dark hallway, the sight looked incredibly eerie. Damn it, who the hell are you? Who are you trying to scare standing here in the middle of the night? Before he could finish his sentence, a blade's glint flashed through the darkness. The head of the lackey who had just spoken was instantly severed from his neck. At that moment, his figure became clearly visible. Then, Liu Junji immediately cried out, "Brother Hu." "That's Jiang Wei." On the stairs leading to the 11th floor, Jiang Wei stood with his blade, his expression cold. A dark light flickered in his deep black eyes, sending shivers of fear down everyone's spines. "Not bad, kid. You've got guts, actually waiting here for me. Brothers, get him. Whoever kills him gets a case of instant noodles. There are also 2 women in that room. Women had become commodities for them to trade, sometimes even less valuable than food. Indeed, where there's a great reward, there are brave men." Brother Hu's lackeys were all consumed by greed. Moreover, their boss had also grabbed his long sword and led the charge straight up. The crowd of lackeys followed suit. "Kid, die for me." Facing the countless blades and clubs swung by Brother Hu's crew, Jiang Wei didn't panic at all because his physical stats had already reached the limit, enhanced by the newly granted invincible buff of the Night Walker. Taking the enemy's heads was as easy as turning over his hand. In the blink of an eye, not a single person remained standing in the stairwell. Meanwhile, Brother Hu and Liu Junji had already fled for their lives. Seeing Brother Hu had already reached the 8th floor, Jiang Wei made several large leaps, jumping directly down from the upper floors, blocking Brother Hu's path. Terrified by Jiang Wei's sudden appearance, Brother Hu instinctively backed away, muttering incessantly, "You can't kill me. My brother won't let you get away with this." He intended to use his brother's name to intimidate him. But unexpectedly, Jiang Wei didn't bother with nonsense and swung his blade down immediately. Villains often die because they talk too much. He knew that very well. But it wasn't over yet. There was still one person left. On the 2nd floor, Liu Junji was as exhausted as a dog crawling on the floor. But he didn't dare stop for even a second. Just moments ago, when he saw Jiang Wei slaughtering everyone in his path, he realized things were looking bad and hurried to escape. Damn it, that Jiang Wei kid must be on drugs or something to have become so powerful. So many people, and yet none were his match. I can't let this happen. I must inform Brother Yao quickly. Just as the gate to Building 5 came into view, he saw someone who seemed to have been waiting for him for a long time. Liquid was still dripping drop by drop from the Tang blade. Seeing this, Liu Junji didn't dare to hesitate and knelt straight down on the ground with a thud. "Jiang Wei, I was wrong." Liu Junji was about to beg for mercy, but Jiang Wei didn't give him the chance to say another word. With one swing of the blade, he ended Liu Junji's life. At this point, of the nearly 20 people who came tonight, not a single one survived. In room 1501, Chen Jiadao sat restlessly on the sofa. Less than greater than. A fruit knife placed ready on the table. Less than greater than. She still didn't know the outcome yet. Less than, and she chose not to wake her sister, because Jiang Wei wanted her to trust him. Just as she was pacing back and forth in worry, she saw a figure appear by the window. Her eyes immediately lit up. Indeed, the person arriving was Jiang Wei. Having had the experience of climbing down from the window last time, climbing up this time was already very familiar to him. With a soft cry, Jiadao emotionally threw herself into Jiang Wei's arms. Luckily, Jiang Wei stood firm. Otherwise, he would have surely been knocked over by the little girl. Seeing Jiang Wei return, she was truly so overjoyed that she almost hung her entire body onto Jiang Wei. She looked just like a little kangaroo, nestled against Jiang Wei's broad chest, looking incredibly tiny. Perhaps because she had been in fear for so long, the moment she saw Jiang Wei, the little girl's, tears began to stream down. Jiang Wei also gently patted her slender back, comforting her. I knew this little girl had never experienced anything like this. She must have been terrified. I carried her to the sofa to let her release all her emotions. It wasn't until a while later that she gradually calmed down. Jiang Wei looked at this sweet school beauty sobbing in front of him and couldn't help but reach out to pinch her pretty nose. You're this big already and you still cry at everything. They'll cry if I want to. You're not allowed to laugh at me. Otherwise, Jiadao won't even look at you anymore. The little girl even pouted haughtily. This adorable appearance, combined with her weightless threat, instantly made Jiang Wei burst into laughter. You're still laughing. The little girl seemed to want to retaliate, starting to act spoiled and mess around on top of me. However, she didn't notice that her nightgown had slipped down from those movements. At this moment, without Jiang Wei having to say another word, Jiadao's small face was already burning hot. Because she had experienced it once before, she understood exactly what was happening right away. But completely unlike the last time, this time she had no intention of stopping him, only squinting her eyes slightly. Could it be a success? Jiang Wei turned over, about to take another step when... Wait, brother-in-law. The little girl turned her face away, not daring to look directly. Not today. I have my period. Oh my God. Hearing that, my excited expression immediately deflated. The little girl looked at me apologetically, her two fingers twisting together. I'm sorry. I just remembered. Jiang Wei also had to stop all his actions. In that case, things definitely couldn't continue. How about, you go find my sister? This little girl really makes people freeze the moment she opens her mouth. Jiang Wei didn't know whether to thank her for being understanding, or thank her for her little cleverness. Forget it, I'm going to take a shower. You go get some sleep. After speaking, Jiang Wei hurriedly left. Otherwise, he would surely be teased to death by this little vixen. Behind him on the sofa, the little girl looked at Jiang Wei's awkward silhouette and gave a silly smile. Brother-in-law is really good to me. Ding. Congratulations, host, goddess. Chen Jiadao's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability, 55. Heh. Tonight seems like it wasn't a waste of effort. At least 20 favorability points were gained from Chen Jiadao. Try a little harder, and I'll be able to receive another round of rewards from the system. Jiang Wei was very much looking forward to the day he could soon light up Chen Jiadao on the goddess Atlas. The good mood helped me sleep very soundly. The next morning, while still in a daze, I suddenly smelled a faint fragrance wafting over, a very familiar scent. Suddenly, I felt an itch, and opened my eyes immediately. It turned out Chen Jiayi was lying in my arms, using her soft locks of hair to tease my nose. It's here. Post-apocalyptic Chow Chow has finally updated. Chen Jiayi was lying in my arms, looking at me tenderly. Are you awake? Chen Jiayi smiled softly. She looked very happy when she smiled. Clearly, she was very pleased with her prank. To punish her for ruining my beauty sleep, I flipped over directly, switching positions with her. About to vent all the frustration from missing out with the younger sister last night onto this older sister, I unexpectedly heard a very familiar sentence. I have my period. Oh my God. I immediately snapped wide awake. I muttered unconsciously, why you have it too? Chen Jiayu was stunned. What did you say? Damn it. I narrowed my eyes, almost giving myself away. If Jiayi were to find out that her sister was almost handled by me last night, I don't know how angry she would be with me. This woman cares most about her younger sister. The plan to have them both as a pair still needs more careful calculation. It's nothing. Is Jiadao still not awake? I used the ultimate diversion tactic, quickly drawing Chen Jiayi's attention. Yes, she's still sleeping. You go in and wake Jiadao up, while I go cook. I have to head out for a bit later. Seeing her puzzled look, I gave her a brief overview of the situation with Brother Yao yesterday, and the ambush from last night. Of course, I automatically omitted the part that happened between me and Chen Jiadao. Hearing my words, Chen Jiayi was deeply moved and actively leaned into my arms. Jiang Wei, thank you for everything you've done for me. Ding. Congratulations, host. Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability toward the host has increased. Current favorability, 90. Detected that Goddess Chen Jiayi's favorability toward the host has increased to 90. Random reward. Host automatically comprehends space ability. Spatial black hole. Spatial black hole is a move belonging to the SSS rank ability, Space King. When used within the spatial range the host can control, the host can automatically teleport an object to another location. Hearing this, my eyes suddenly lit up, so others' attacks can be teleported too. Good. The system is truly overpowered. Receiving a positive answer from the system, I was so excited I almost shouted out loud. But my little brother down there started acting up, making Chen Jiayi, who was lying in my arms, immediately turn red as a beet. She hesitated for a moment, then slowly squatted down. This part is great. I've already watched it for everyone. At noon, all three of us sat down to eat together. Jiadao looked strangely at her sister, who was eating salad, as if her mouth were burned. Sister, do you have mouth sores? Hearing Jiadao ask that, I burst out laughing. It really was an awkward question. Chen Jiayi shot me a resentful, sideways glance. After the meal, I packed my things simply, preparing to charge straight into Building 1, where Brother Yao was staying. It was best to resolve this threat as soon as possible. At the door, the two sisters looked very worried, especially the older sister, Jiayi. Her favorability points had reached 90. Toward me, she had developed a nearly complete dependence. It's a pity I haven't awakened an ability, otherwise I could have helped you. I looked at her helpless expression and comforted her. It's okay. You'll have your chance too. Jiayi only took it as words of comfort and didn't mind. But she didn't know that through my eyes, I could clearly see. Her ability awakening progress had already reached 92%. The distance to her ability awakening was no longer far. When the goddess favorability reaches 100, and after a certain number of maintenance sessions, she can awaken. I instructed them once more, not to open the door for anyone arbitrarily before I set off. As a result, just as I stepped out the door of the opposite room opened and Bai Ji appeared. Jiang Wei, are you heading out? I nodded. Every time I saw this woman, I couldn't help but be drawn by her headlights and stare. About yesterday, have you thought it over carefully? While speaking, my eyes constantly scanned her body. After all, why wouldn't I take a look? Bai Ji didn't expect me to ask her so bluntly, and her face immediately flushed red. I haven't decided yet, could you? Seeing, she seemed hesitant. I knew this woman still hadn't made up her mind, and even wanted to ask me to borrow food. You won't let me eat meat, yet you want to eat my food for free. There's no such good deal. So I interrupted her directly, sorry, my food always comes with a price. Yesterday's offer is still valid. Contact me when you've thought it over. I'm busy, leaving now. Watching my decisive figure leave, Bai Ji's plan to borrow food again completely vanished into thin air. On another side, in room 902 of Building 1, Brother Yao was flying into a rage. What did you say? My brother is dead? Just having finished with 2 women, Brother Yao looked at his brother's corpse on the ground, half-eaten by zombies, and let out a maddened roar. Brother Yao, it's true. Brother Hu and the others didn't return last night. We only found the bodies this morning, the lackey reported tremblingly. Damn it! My brother was gone all night and you didn't say anything sooner. Did you want my brother to die? Brother Yao cursed, while frantically kicking the lackey who brought the news. That lackey also had his own troubles. Brother Yao had been with the 2 women all night and continued another round early this morning. It wasn't until just now that he stopped, giving the lackey a chance to report. Seeing that the lackey was about to be kicked to death, Brother Yao still didn't stop. In this apocalypse, human life is the cheapest thing. Those standing by saw this scene, but none dared to utter a single word. After kicking the lackey to death, Brother Yao, drenched in sweat, finally took a tissue from a woman's hand. Brother Yao, please don't be too sad. The woman was about to say a few comforting words, but the next second, sad my ass. That damn brat still owes me 2 women. Now that he's dead, who am I supposed to demand them from? Bastard. Saying that, Brother Yao grabbed the woman's hair with one hand. I'm really fired up right now. 30 seconds later, with a long sigh of satisfaction, Brother Yao felt much better. Investigate. Who had the guts to touch my brother? Brother Yao. Yesterday you told Brother Hu to take people to kidnap those sisters and ambush that kid in Building 5. I bet it was definitely that kid's doing. The lackey spoke up boldly. Damn it. Everyone, assemble. Follow me and kill that kid. To avenge my brother. I've lived this long and still haven't tasted a pair of sisters together. Ha ha ha. As Brother Yao was arrogantly about to stand up, the room door was suddenly kicked open the next second. Someone walked in, holding a tang blade, fresh blood still clinging to the edge, dripping down 1 drop at a time. No need to assemble anymore. Your lackeys guarding outside are all dead. Those in the room hadn't even had time to react, when at that moment, a lackey from outside suddenly rushed in to report. Brother Yao, someone is slaughtering their way in. Before he could finish, a flash of the blade swept past and the lackey's head fell straight to the ground, followed by a casual sentence that immediately made Brother Yao's face darken. Was it you who killed my brother? Even though over a dozen lackeys outside had been wiped out, Brother Yao didn't show any panic at all. The gun in his hip was what gave him confidence. Are you talking about that Brother Hu from last night? I killed him. Jiang Wei thought Brother Yao was going to issue some threat and was going to play along a bit for fun, less than greater than, but instead saw the previously calm Brother Yao suddenly, less than greater than, fly into a rage. Damn it. Less than. Do you know that idiot was my own flesh and blood brother? God damn it, he still owed me 20 women. Hearing that, I was completely speechless. This was the first time I'd seen someone describe their own brother like that. A lackey standing nearby unconsciously muttered, Brother Yao, wasn't it just 2? The next second, a gunshot rang out, and this lackey was ended by Brother Yao. Get lost? Who gave you permission to speak? If I say 20 people, it's 20 people. The domineering Brother Yao sat on the sofa, grabbed a woman and forced her to sit beside him, while fiddling with the gun in his hand, looking at me with great interest. Kid, how should we settle this debt? Yesterday you stole my supplies and killed my brother. How about this? You call me Grandpa, then bring those sisters here for my pleasure. One by one. Once I'm bored of playing, I'll spare your life. How's that sound? Ha ha ha. Brother Yao's savage laughter echoed throughout the room. Jiang Wei wiped the playful look from his face, and a cold glint flashed in his deep pupils. My gaze toward Brother Yao now was no different from looking at a corpse. The fang blade in my hand was also ready. Hey, kid, don't try anything stupid, or don't blame me if my gun accidentally goes off. Brother Yao intended to threaten more, but seeing Jiang Wei ignore him completely and continue walking toward him step by step, cruelty flashed in Brother Yao's eyes. He aimed straight at Jiang Wei's head and pulled the trigger. Kid, die. It's appeared. The post-apocalyptic Chow Chow has appeared. Another woman has been added. At this moment, with a ferocious face, Brother Yao had thought he could see my head blasted open. But the following scene made him directly question his reality. Just as the bullet flew toward Jiang Wei, a black hole swirling with mystical power suddenly appeared to block my path. Fired bullet was instantly swallowed by that black hole, and Jiang Wei standing behind the black hole was completely unharmed, even smiling at him. This sight made the ferocious smile on Brother Yao's face vanish instantly. What the hell is this? But what shocked him was still to come. The bullet that just vanished unexpectedly appeared right in the forehead of the lackey standing next to him. One of his lackeys had been ended by the very bullet he had fired. Until the moment he died, that lackey still had a dazed expression, not understanding what happened. The remaining lackeys looked at Brother Yao in bewilderment. Boss, we didn't say anything. Why did you shoot us? I missed. Being looked at like that by his lackeys, Brother Yao felt extremely embarrassed. Damn it. I just missed. Let's go again. Only the sound of gunshots rang out, and a similar scene played out again. The bullet flew toward Jiang Wei and vanished, and the next second, another lackey logged out. At this point, Brother Yao was truly starting to doubt his life. As for Jiang Wei, seeing this, he was secretly delighted. It was exactly as the system said. Absolute defense. My SSS rank spatial ability, spatial black hole, really could teleport attacks. Just moments ago, at the moment Brother Yao fired, I immediately opened two spatial black holes. One end aimed toward Brother Yao, and the other end. I aimed straight at one of his lackeys. After the bullet was swallowed by the black hole in front of Brother Yao, I directly teleported it to the lackey's location. That's why such a situation occurred. Knowing Brother Yao's gun couldn't cause any harm to him, Jiang Wei also began to mock him. Brother Yao, your marksmanship is pathetic. You can't even hit me from this close. Or was last night too much for you? If you're too weak, take some medicine. 1 bottle for alertness, 2 bottles for tireless energy, 3 bottles for eternal life. Hearing Jiang Wei's taunts, Brother Yao completely lost his cool. Damn it. How did this brat know my secret about using drugs? Nonsense. Brat, what kind of sorcery are you using? Die for me. Brother Yao didn't believe this weirdness. He kicked away the woman at his feet, stood up, and frantically pulled the trigger toward Jiang Wei. Gunshots rang out continuously. Bang, a bullet vanished, and a lackey collapsed. Bang again, the bullet vanished, and another lackey fell. Just like that, every bullet fired vanished. Another lackey went down, until the ammo was almost gone, and the result remained the same. All the bullets still showed no change. They all lodged straight into his own lackeys. The few lucky surviving lackeys all melt down. Brother Yao, please aim carefully. All the brothers are dead over here. Bang! Along with the final gunshot, last lackey was also finished off by Brother Yao. Brother Yao's faith in life completely crumbled. Having shot until now, he had even become numb. Seeing Jiang Wei standing right in front of him, the gun in his hand dropped to the floor with a thud. Told you were weak and you didn't believe it. Do you believe it now? Jiang Wei held the tang blade right against Brother Yao's neck. The cold blade made Brother Yao tremble all over. He knelt on the ground. Grandpa, you're absolutely right. I really am weak. I beg forgiveness from the great elder. It's good that you've realized it. Now you can be on your way. With that, Jiang Wei swung his blade, slitting Brother Yao's throat, not giving him any further chance for nonsense or begging. From the moment he had evil intentions toward Chen's sisters, Jiang Wei had no intention of letting him live. After finishing him off, Jiang Wei picked up the gun from the floor and put it away. Although this is useless to me, it'll be fine to take back for the sisters to use for self-defense. Almost everyone in the room had been finished off by Yao Ge. The only survivor was a lone woman. At that moment, Jiang Wei suddenly felt a strange sensation. I lowered my head to look down. It was the woman Yao Ge had just pinned down to vent his lust. She actually looked quite decent. Her figure could be considered quite curvaceous, while constantly trying to soothe herself. She also kept throwing flirtatious glances at me. I can be your little slave, you know. Can you please take me with you? I'm skilled in all sorts of positions and techniques. The woman's voice was thick with a coquettish whine. Every single word oozed pure temptation. The system automatically displayed her data. Goddess Zhang Min. Overall score, 90. Affection, 10. Maintenance count, 99 plus. System description, congenital lack of affection. Saintly body. She was originally the wife of the former manager, Liu Junji, before the apocalypse broke out. She had been sneaking around her husband's back with over 20 men. From 60-year-old men to young teenagers, they had all been her lovers. If the host forcibly recruits her, the system will automatically reward the host with a high-quality hat, and it will be a very fashionable one too. Warning, does not meet the system's requirements. Host is urged to stay away immediately. What the hell? This is the very first time the system has issued such a severe warning. Overall score 90, recharge count over 99, damn it. I don't need the system to remind me about this. Looking at that 99 plus figure, Zhang Wei immediately thought, I've got to run. I need to get out now. Zhang Wei bolted without even glancing back, leaving Zhang Min staring in confusion. Oh my, what are you doing? Why are you running and not going to eat you? As soon as he heard those, Zhang Wei ran even faster. He didn't even bother to collect Yaogi's supplies. After exiting Building 1, Zhang Wei recalled the SOS signal from Building 6 yesterday, the bedsheet signal for help. So I plan to head over to Building 6 to check it out. I wonder if the woman in that building meets the system's recruitment criteria. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Wei was already standing at the entrance of Building 6. I delivered a kick that sent the door of Building 6 flying. The zombies inside heard the noise and immediately swarmed in. The current me. As long as they aren't evolved zombies with special abilities, then they can't possibly pose a threat to me. Right now, in room 1302 on the 13th floor, a woman holding a fruit knife was facing off against several burly men who had forced their way in. This woman was exceptionally beautiful. Her hair was slightly messy, yet it radiated an alluring charm. Her name is Cheng Ying, famous streamer with tens of millions of fans, thanks to her superior beauty. In simple office wear, she became an overnight sensation, immediately taking the entire social media world by storm, capturing the hearts of countless admirers. She gained millions of followers in just one night, but right now, Cheng Ying's face was filled with utter terror. Just a few days ago, she and her husband had just registered their marriage. They planned to find a quiet place, to build a small, cozy, and peaceful nest, to serve as their honeymoon chamber. But the moment they finished decorating, the apocalypse struck. To call for help, she hung up that white bedsheet, but unexpectedly, before rescue could arrive, a group of survivors led by Wang Kun, who were no better than common thugs, stormed in first. They plundered all of their food. He even demanded that she serve him. Her husband, in an attempt to protect his wife, was also murdered by this group, and she was given an ultimatum by the leader, Wang Kun, to submit within 3 days. Today was the final day of that deadline. This group had come, explicitly to force Cheng Ying into submission. Where else do you think you can run? The 3-day limit is up. Today, you have no choice but to agree. Brother Kun already gave the word. As long as you agree to be his woman, he'll guarantee your safety and provide food and clothing. But if you don't know what's good for you, then we'll just have to use force. Don't blame us if we accidentally rough you up. He, the burly men's eyes were full of greed, constantly leering at Cheng Ying's body. This woman is truly a top-tier prize. If Brother Kun hadn't specifically claimed her, then these brothers of theirs would have enjoyed her right here on the spot. No way. I, Cheng Ying, would rather die than ever agree. Wang Kun murdered my husband. The police will never let you get away with this. As she spoke, Cheng Ying's eyes were burning with hatred. She would never forget the sight of her husband, dying a brutal death right before her eyes. If she weren't still holding onto a sliver of hope, she would have followed her husband long ago. Xiao Ying, you should just obediently follow Brother Kun. It's the apocalypse now. Following Brother Kun is the only way you'll live well. What are you still hesitating for? Your husband is already dead. You should start thinking more about yourself. The person who just spoke was the only woman among the group that had broken in, and she was once Cheng Ying's best friend. But compared to Cheng Ying's beauty, this woman named Wang Dan fell far short. With a surgically sharpened plastic face, she looked incredibly shrewish and harsh. Wang Dan, this is all your fault. If you hadn't colluded with Wang Kun's gang, my husband wouldn't be dead. How dare you even show your face to me? Cheng Ying shouted in a fit of rage. It was this very best friend who had secretly opened the door to let Wang Kun's mob inside. Why blame me? Setting aside the past, are you not at fault too? You're prettier than me, don't you think that's the problem? I only did it because I wanted to survive. In this apocalypse, following Brother Kun is the only way for us to live. Besides, I'm your best friend. Even if you won't do it for yourself, you should sacrifice a little for your dear friend here. What's the big deal about spending one night with Brother Kun? Wang Dan spoke as if it were nothing. My fault? Hearing Wang Dan's words, Cheng Ying couldn't believe her ears. She widened her beautiful eyes in shock. She never imagined that her longtime friend could utter such ridiculous nonsense. She was so furious that she froze in place. Wang Dan didn't care having another woman join would help lessen the burden of serving, so she directly ordered the burly men, "Hurry up and take this bitch away. Don't keep Brother Kun waiting." Deep down for a long time now, she had considered herself to be Brother Kun's lady, but the next second a loud slap rang out, instantly shattering her beautiful delusion. Damn it, a whore like you dares to give orders? Get lost. One of the large men had slapped Wang Dan across the face, leaving her too terrified to utter another word. Then they turned their gaze toward Cheng Ying. The men broke into wicked grins. Cheng Ying, look, should we handle you or will you come quietly? If we have to do it, we won't know how to be gentle. Haha. As they spoke, they kept reaching out toward Cheng Ying. They were itching to get a taste of this exquisite woman. Cheng Ying backed away repeatedly. She had backed up right against the window. Seeing that she was backed into a corner, Cheng Ying's face was now filled with total despair. The only thought in her mind now was suicide. She would rather die than let her husband's killer disgrace her. Her own honor. Watching the filthy hands reaching for her, Cheng Ying resolved herself. She gripped the fruit knife and lunged forward with all her might. She was going to die anyway. She wasn't going to let these people off easy. One of the brutes, unable to dodge, was stabbed to death on the spot. The rest of them were instantly enraged. You little bitch, you didn't want to do this the easy way. So you want me to handle you personally, huh? The burly man stopped being polite. He swung his hand and delivered a brutal slap to Cheng Ying's face, forcing a terrified scream from her lips. Her entire body reeled backward, and right behind her was the open window. Cheng Ying instinctively squeezed her eyes shut. She could feel the icy gusts of wind whistling past her ears. Maybe dying is for the best. Death is a final release. The only regret is not living to see those bastards die. Just as Cheng Ying thought she was surely about to die, a powerful arm suddenly wrapped tightly around her waist and pulled her back from the edge of the window. To survive in this apocalypse, the woman not only sold herself for a piece of bread, also tried to pull a buy one, get one free deal, dragging her best friend down with her. Xiao Ying, you should just go along with Brother Kun. Your husband is already dead anyway. Can't you learn to think more about your own future? Currently, Wang Dan was standing in front of the group of thugs, speaking with a smug air. This drove Cheng Ying into a state of total despair. She never would have imagined that her friend of 20 years could betray her like this. By now, two of the large men couldn't wait any longer. They rushed forward to seize Cheng Ying. Cheng Ying screamed in terror. Stay away from me. Her whole body toppled backward. Directly behind her was the window. Cheng Ying instinctively closed her eyes tight, just as she thought death was certain. A firm, strong arm caught her by the waist and pulled her back from the very edge of the window. A strong masculine scent wafted toward her. Didn't you hear her tell you to stay away? Smack. A loud sound. A heavy slap was delivered, right across the face of one of the brutes, followed immediately by a powerful kick. The two large men were sent flying outward. The newcomer's speed was incredible, so fast that it wasn't until the two men were sprawled on the ground that everyone else in the room managed to snap out of it, their faces contorted with malice. Kid, who the hell are you? How dare you interfere in our business? Surrounded by burly men armed with knives and clubs, the young man didn't flinch for a second. Who am I? I'm just a passing knight of justice, though a slight smile played on my lips. Internally, I was incredibly excited. Who would have thought that room 1302 actually housed such a top-tier goddess, the streamer Cheng Ying, a superstar with tens of millions of followers. Even I had secretly hit the follow button on her profile. I had even stayed up countless nights watching her live streams. I never would have dreamed in a million years that the goddess of my dreams lived right across from my own home. It's a good thing I arrived just in time. Otherwise, this peerless beauty would have been lost forever. Currently, Cheng Ying, having just escaped death, was in my arms. Upon hearing my response, she couldn't help but let out a small laugh. Ding! Congratulations, host. Goddess Cheng Ying's affection for you has increased by 5 points. Current affection. Brat, you must be tired of living. The burly men stared at me, the sudden intruder. Their faces were flushed with pure rage. They swung their blades at me. terrifying Cheng Ying, who was still in my embrace. Her hands gripped my broad back tightly, but in the next second that big guy was forced to his knees because a handgun was now pressed directly against his forehead. What did you just say? I didn't hear you clearly. Say it one more time. With the muzzle of a massive desert eagle pressed to his skull. The man was so terrified that sweat poured down his face. He never would have imagined that this kid who appeared out of nowhere would have a gun. In the entire security team of this complex, only their leader, Brother Kun, had a firearm. Where did this guy get? Before he could finish, a gunshot rang out. Jiang Wei kept one arm around Cheng Ying's slender waist, pulled the trigger with the other. But I have to admit, this woman's waist is incredibly small. Just by holding her, I could feel her soft body pressing tightly against mine. Seeing the newcomer fire without hesitation, the remaining thugs realized the situation was dire. They immediately tried to flee. This mob with their knives and sticks stood no chance against someone with a gun. However, in the next moment, a voice rang out. Freeze. Did I say you could leave? The big men stopped in their tracks before they could even turn around. Jiang Wei let out a soft chuckle. Heh heh. You actually stopped just because I told you to. You guys really aren't afraid of death, are you? My apologies. I'm not one for talking. Bang, bang, bang. After several shots fired, the men who were trying to run all collapsed under my fire, seeing me appear and fire so lethally. The sole survivor, Wang Dan, was so terrified she wet herself. A large puddle formed on the floor beneath her. Ridiculous things this woman had said earlier. Jiang Wei had heard every single word of it. Toward this kind of monstrous woman, Jiang Wei had never shown an ounce of mercy. So without a word, I prepared to pull the trigger. But unexpectedly at that moment, Cheng Ying, who was in my arms, stopped my hand from pulling the trigger. Wait. Jiang Wei looked toward the beauty in his arms, with a look of pure confusion. Wang Dan, who thought her death was certain, felt as if she had just been thrown a lifeline. She turned her final gaze of hope toward Cheng Ying. Xiao Ying, I'm your best sister. Please, think of all the years of our friendship. Think of all the times I helped you out. I was the one who introduced you to this career back then. Wang Dan seized the opportunity, rambling on and on. She listed every good deed she had ever done for Cheng Ying. Jiang Wei found it quite interesting to wait and see what Cheng Ying would choose. Their conversation from just a moment ago. I heard it all from outside the door, so I had a pretty clear grasp of the situation. If Cheng Ying could actually forgive this best friend of hers, then no matter how top-tier a goddess she was, Jiang Wei wouldn't keep her by his side. I know the rule well. In the apocalypse, the first to go must be the blindly compassionate. Fortunately, Cheng Ying did not disappoint me. That woman, I want to kill her with my own hands. When she said those words, Cheng Ying's eyes were overflowing with vengeance. It was because of this best friend, that her husband died such a tragic death. How could she possibly let her go? Jiang Wei nodded in approval. I handed the handgun over to Cheng Ying, taking the gun from Jiang Wei's hand. Cheng Ying's body trembled slightly. She aimed the muzzle directly at her former best friend. Jiang Wei stepped forward and wrapped his arm around her small waist. I caught a faint, delicate scent from her. Doing this would also help her manage the gun's recoil. Xiao Ying, please don't. Think back. I was the one who organized your whole wedding. With Cheng Ying's dark muzzle pointed right at her, Wang Dan began to babble incoherently out of pure terror. If she hadn't said anything, it might have been better. But saying that immediately reignited Cheng Ying's fury. Bang! A single gunshot. Wang Dan had breathed her very last breath, and Cheng Ying just stood there, dazed. It seemed she hadn't yet processed what she'd done. In just a few short days, she'd seen her husband die a horrific death. Her best friend had betrayed her, and today she had personally finished off. The person who used to be her closest friend. After one shock after another, this woman finally reached her breaking point. She collapsed into Jiang Wei's arms and sobbed uncontrollably. Jiang Wei understood that for Cheng Ying right now, the most important thing was companionship and comfort. So I didn't say a word. I just let Cheng Ying pour out all of her grief. An hour later, Cheng Ying finally began to calm down slightly. Thank you for saving me. Cheng Ying's eyes were bloodshot from her crying fit. Tears still glistened in her eyes, like stars falling onto the surface of a calm lake. She exuded an air of fragile brokenness. It truly made one's heart ache just to look at her. You're too kind, Sister Cheng Ying. You know me? Cheng Ying's face was filled with curiosity. She had assumed Jiang Wei belonged to some sort of rescue team, but it was clearly not the case. Yes, but instead of calling you Sister Cheng Ying, I prefer to just call you Cheng Ying. Cheng Ying was stunned. You've watched my live streams? Because only her fans usually addressed her that way. I've been following you for a while now. I also live right here in this apartment complex. Cheng Ying finally understood everything, why the man before her was able to. appeared just in time to save her life. He must have seen the rescue bedsheet she had hung out. That's why he had come looking for her. She couldn't help but let down her guard a bit. At the very least, it showed that this man meant her no harm. Isn't that right? Ding! Congratulations, host, the goddess's affection. Cheng Ying's affection for you has increased by 5 points. Current affection, 10. Jiang Wei glanced around the room. The room was decorated very formally. A large double happiness character was still on the wall. Red decorations were still scattered all around. This was supposed to be the bridal chamber for me and my husband. But now, he is no longer here. Jiang Wei had already heard about this earlier. I had already anticipated what Cheng Ying was about to say next. Could you please do me a favor? Past few days of experience had taught her. Rescue certainly won't arrive in time now. Now she could only rely on herself for revenge. The decisive way the man in front of her had handled things was still vividly etched in her mind. Now her only hope was this man. I beg of you, please help me get revenge. They murdered my husband. I must make them pay the ultimate price for the atrocities they have committed. As she spoke, a thud echoed. Cheng Ying had dropped to her knees before Jiang Wei, and truly out of options. Sob. Seeing Cheng Ying kneeling and crying so piteously, Jiang Wei felt a brief flash of sympathy in his heart. Ding. Scan goddess Cheng Ying, possessor of the human Saint King body. Beauty, 99. Affection, 10. Maintenance count, 0. System bio, age 27. Born with the human Saint King body, she just recently registered her marriage. Husband deceased during the apocalypse. Possesses over 10 million followers on social media. A truly captivating goddess. She possesses a very elegant look. As for the system's rating, Jiang Wei didn't find it surprising at all, because whether it came to beauty or figure, Cheng Ying was in no way inferior to those two sisters. However, in terms of aura, she completely outshone them. Both sweet and lively, seductive yet incredibly refined. Peat beauty that truly enchants the soul. Sister Cheng Ying, please rest assured. I will definitely help you with this. In fact, I came here specifically to find them anyway. To Jiang Wei, this was actually just a matter of convenience. Upon hearing Jiang Wei's words, Cheng Ying's face lit up with surprise and joy. Really? Jiang Wei smiled and nodded. In the next second, Cheng Ying was so moved that she threw herself into my arms. Thank you, Jiang Wei. I will definitely repay you for this kindness. Ding! Congratulations, host, goddess Cheng Ying's affection. For you has increased by 10 points. Current affection, 20. Tell me more about this brother Kun and his situation. I've already wiped out all of brother Kun's lackeys. Now I just need to hear the rest from Cheng Ying. Fortunately, Cheng Ying had managed to gather some information beforehand. She immediately recounted everything she knew to Jiang Wei. Through Cheng Ying's story, Jiang Wei quickly grasped the situation on the upper floors. There were still over a dozen survivors up there, all armed. The leader is brother Kun, formerly the apartment's security chief. He has a handgun in his possession. None of this posed much of a threat to me. However, another piece of information that Cheng Ying mentioned really caught his attention. There's someone who can breathe fire. Cheng Ying nodded. Yes, that's right. I saw with my own eyes how he spontaneously generated flames to incinerate the zombies. Hearing Cheng Ying's account and connecting it to the burn marks I'd seen on my way up, Jiang Wei began to form his own suspicions. It seems that a fire-type ability user has appeared here. Ever since Jiang Wei himself had awakened his powers, I had been mentally preparing to face other ability users at any time. But with the absolute defense of my spatial black hole, I wasn't afraid at all. On the contrary, I was actually looking forward to it. Let's go, I'll take you to get your revenge. Jiang Wei took the initiative and grasped Cheng Ying's hand. The goddess' hand was incredibly soft. Brother Kun's group was on the top floor of Building 6. That would be the 19th floor. The zombies on the middle floors had long since been herded to the lower floors by Kun's gang. That's why when Jiang Wei first entered, he was immediately swarmed by zombies like that. Perhaps because they had lived in leisure for too long. This group didn't even bother to post sentries. Compared to Yaoge's strict defense in Building 1, they were truly worlds apart. Jiang Wei and Cheng Ying successfully entered the 19th floor, but the moment they stepped inside, they heard the sounds of countless men and women's revelry echoing. This made the inexperienced Cheng Ying flush deep red with embarrassment. Even though she and her husband had their marriage certificate, they hadn't even had the chance to do that yet, before he passed away. For her, this was truly a massive shock. Towards such disrespectful behavior as this, he flashed a malicious smile. Silently, he detached the silencer from his pistol. Then he fired a warning shot straight into the air, accompanied by a deafening gunshot that echoed through the area. In that moment, it felt as if the entire world suddenly fell silent. Go on, kiss her. This Chow Tak fellow didn't just get to kiss the beautiful lady. He also successfully took them down right at the doorstep. Meanwhile, hearing the gunshot, Wang Kun was so enraged his vision went blurry. His face darkened with a gloomy, ominous expression, terrifying the two women beside him so much they turned pale as ghosts. Trembling, they asked Wang Kun if they should continue. Wang Kun's face turned livid with fury. He brushed the two women aside. Drawing his pistol, he stormed out with a murderous look on his face. At this time, following Jiang Wei's single shot, everyone on the 19th floor had come outside. However, no one was in a particularly good mood. Each and every one of them wore a murderous expression. Just as they stepped out, they saw a man and a woman sitting on a sofa. The man looked incredibly handsome. The woman was exceptionally charming and seductive. Wang Kun recognized them immediately. Wasn't that woman the famous streamer Chang Ying? She was the woman he had targeted for himself long ago. And as for that guy? Holy crap, it's you, Jiang Wei. Damn it, a mere delivery boy like you dares to come here firing shots. Are you looking for death? After all, we're from the same neighborhood. Because in the past, while making deliveries, Jiang Wei had been harassed by Wang Kun's guards many times. So naturally, Jiang Wei didn't have anything nice to say to him. Oh look, isn't this Kun Ji? Haven't seen you in a few days. Why do you look so pathetic? Even though he was tightly surrounded by the crowd, Jiang Wei remained calm. His left hand toyed with his desert eagle. His right hand suddenly gave a sharp pull, pulling Cheng Ying toward him and forcing her to sit on his lap. Cheng Ying didn't resist this at all, leaning close to this man's sturdy chest. It truly made her feel a bit less terrified. Strangely enough, even though they had just met, this man always gave her a sense of absolute security, making her uncontrollably indulge in that feeling. Being taunted by Jiang Wei like that, Kunji's face grew even darker since the apocalypse began. Anyone who dared to show him disrespect had to die. Not to mention Cheng Ying was someone he had already claimed as his, yet here she was leaning into another man's embrace. This brat Jiang Wei. If not for being wary of the gun in Jiang Wei's hand, he would have shot him dead long ago. Speak up, brat, what do you want? To everyone's surprise, Jiang Wei ignored him completely and didn't bother to answer. He just grinned and said, "Are you all out now?" "Good, then. Which ones are the culprits who murdered your husband? Point them out to me." So domineering. Ting. Congratulations, host, the goddess. Shan Ying's favorability toward the host has doubled. Current favorability is 25, as soon as Jiang Wei finished speaking. The atmosphere at the scene immediately shifted. Because quite a few people standing here, nearly all of them had once stormed into Cheng Ying's home. Did you come here to seek justice for this bitch? Wang Kun finally realized something was wrong. No wonder he sent men downstairs to handle things, and it took so long for just one woman. I'm afraid those lackeys have long since kicked the bucket, but Jiang Wei didn't care about him in the slightest. Cheng Ying just raised her hand to point at the first one. Bang. The sound of a gunshot rang out. A lackey collapsed on the spot. Wang Kun never expected that at such close range, that brat Jiang Wei would still dare to fire. Others, charge. Hack him to death for me. Actually, at this point, his order wasn't even needed. His lackeys were already charging forward frantically, and he himself immediately drew his pistol. His face contorted hideously. Die. You little brat. Bang. A gunshot. A bullet whistled through the air directly toward Jiang Wei. Before Jiang Wei could even react, Cheng Ying in my embrace instinctively squeezed her eyes shut. I'm not sure what she was thinking at that moment, but her body unconsciously shielded Jiang Wei. Be careful. Jiang Wei saw this and smiled faintly, gently patting her shoulder to comfort her. It's okay. Cheng Ying thought she was surely a goner this time, but when she opened her eyes to look, she found herself completely safe and sound. On the contrary, the lackey who had been leading the charge had been killed instantly. What on earth is happening? Cheng Ying's face was full of confusion. Opposite them, Wang Kun, who had just fired, was also stunned. He had clearly aimed that shot straight at Jiang Wei. Aiming at that brat to fire, why did his own man end up getting shot? Unable to believe it, he frantically fired several more shots, and exactly as expected, the lackeys rushing out were all finished off by his own hand. Wang Kun was completely paralyzed with terror. He screamed in a mad rage, Jiang Wei, you brat, what kind of sorcery did you use? Jiang Wei just laughed without answering. Are you kidding? With this absolute spatial black hole defense, if you guys could still hit me, wouldn't this skill be useless? Staring intently at Jiang Wei, who was still blatantly firing over there. Wang Kun didn't dare fire again since he didn't understand the situation. He hastily sent someone to call his son to the rescue. His son had suddenly awakened his superpower a few days ago, a strange ability to create fire out of thin air. These past few days, they were able to drive away the zombies. Most of the credit went to his son. Jiang Wei, if you're smart and get lost now. I can act like nothing ever happened. Otherwise, once my son takes action, you're finished. I don't mind telling you either. My son Wang Yi has the potential to be a savior. Once he shows up, death is your only path. Jiang Wei felt that sentence sounded familiar, but he couldn't quite remember, so I just, bang bang, fired a few more shots, sending a few more lackeys on their way. Wang Kun's face turned livid with frustration. He could only stand there staring, having a gun but not daring to fire. Every time he fired, a lackey died. That feeling was truly unbearable. Just a moment later, his lackeys had been completely wiped out, not one left. He really couldn't be patient anymore. I can surely fire this time, right? He let out a furious roar. Kunge leaped up from his seat, intending to frantically pull the trigger at Jiang Wei, but just at that moment, a blaze of fire flew straight toward him. Father, I'm here to save you. Along with the spirited shout of the Wang family's precious son, a fireball struck him right in the middle of his forehead. Just a second later, the fierce flames directly incinerated Wang Kun into ashes. Until his last breath, Wang Kun never would have imagined that he would die at the hands of his own precious son. Jiang Wei also felt a bit speechless at this scene. It was just a moment ago, when facing the sudden fireball attack, I instinctively performed, redirecting the spatial black hole's exit toward Wang Kun. And so, Wang Kun, who was just about to rise up, met a miserable end. Luckily, Jiang Wei had maintained the black hole. The shockwave from the explosion was completely swallowed by the black hole. Cheng Ying and I remained perfectly safe. However, the girl was still quite dazed. The bastard she wanted to kill ended so abruptly. Why does everything feel so dramatic? Under Jiang Wei's observation, a short, fat guy weighing nearly 150 kilograms appeared. Just detected an awakened person approaching. Awakened person, Wang Yi. Awakened power. Power, fireball. Level, Tier 1, early stage. Jiang Wei really couldn't have expected it. Could a guy like this actually awaken a power? Wang Yi charged out aggressively, glancing at his father, now just a pile of ashes. Then looking at Jiang Wei with resentment. It was you. You killed my father. After speaking, two bright red flames flared up in his hands. The next second, he hurled the flames directly at Jiang Wei. Witness my explosive fireball technique. Seeing this, Jiang Wei didn't even bother to dodge. On one hand, I pointed the black hole's exit toward Wang Yi. On the other hand, he directly drew his Desert Eagle, aiming straight at Wang Yi and pulling the trigger repeatedly. While Wang Yi was still busy screaming, he immediately saw his own fireball suddenly vanish without a trace. Before he could even process what was happening, a barrage of bullets whistled through the air toward him. At that very moment, a black hole slowly appeared right behind his back. His fireball that had just disappeared smashed directly into him. Under attack from both sides, a horrific explosion occurred. The entire room was leveled in an instant, killing all the women in the room along with him. Luckily, Jiang Wei's reactions were incredibly swift. Plus, as night had just fallen, my reaction speed had directly doubled. I immediately grabbed Cheng Ying and teleported outside. Inside room 1302, after Cheng Ying had finally exacted her revenge, she buried her head in Jiang Wei's chest and sobbed uncontrollably. Jiang Wei had no choice but to stay by her side to comfort her. Then he even helped the woman clean up her apartment. I originally wanted to bring her back with me. However, she didn't voice any objection either. She just said she needed more time to adapt. Having no other choice, I had to leave behind some supplies before departing. As I opened the door to leave, the woman hesitated for a moment and said, "Jiang Wei. Thank you, I will definitely repay this kindness." Jiang Wei looked at her, blushing shyly. Then he thought about her identity as a seductive widow. I couldn't restrain myself anymore, such a beautiful scene. Let me help everyone keep admiring it. 2 hours passed. Jiang Wei was casually whistling, while walking on the way back home. By now, Cheng Ying's favorability had risen to 50, just one short step away from the 60 threshold to receive the intimacy reward. Just a tiny bit more. When Jiang Wei returned to Building 5, it was already nearly 10 p.m. The moment Jiang Wei stepped into the room, both sisters rushed to embrace me. Chen Jiayi acted a bit stronger, but the younger sister Yao Yao burst into loud sobs, crying so hard she looked truly pitiful. Jiang Wei knew the two sisters were very worried about him, so I did my best to comfort them both for quite a long time. Afterward, I washed up and collapsed onto the bed. Just as I was planning to rest for a bit, his phone suddenly lit up. After so many days of apocalypse, mobile network signals had long since vanished. The only thing that still worked was SMS, but the signal wasn't stable at all. It came and went, very flickering. I'm afraid in just a few days the power will be cut too. By then the phone will truly become useless junk. I opened the phone to check the message. Jiang Wei, could you come over here for a bit? The sender was none other than Bai Ji. Has this woman finally reached her limit? At 12 o'clock in the dead of night, Lady Bai Ji wore a thin red nightgown, with one hand leaning lightly against the back of the sofa. If it were before the apocalypse broke out, she would probably have been deep in sleep by now. But the gnawing hunger was tormenting her miserably, so much so that she could barely close her eyes. If not for the fact that 2 days prior, the man from across the hall had given her 2 loaves of bread, she probably wouldn't have lasted until yesterday. That's why she was driven to a dead end and messaged Jiang Wei. On the 5th day since the apocalypse broke out, I knocked on the neighbor landlady's door. Upon seeing this, the noble lady wasn't angry at all, but instead showed an incredibly warm welcome. Simply because when the apocalypse struck, 90% of the world's population had turned into zombies. While I awakened the beauty encyclopedia system, conquering high-score beauties would grant great rewards. At this moment, Bai Jie heard a series of knocks on the door that immediately made her feel highly alert. "Who is it?" "It's me, Bai Jie Nuna." Hearing my voice, Bai Jie finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then she rushed to open the door. "You're here." Hearing Bai Jie's gentle call, I nodded slightly in response, and naturally walked straight into the living room. Behind me, Bai Ji followed nervously step by step. I sat on the sofa, observing the woman before me. Her features were incredibly refined. Her long, smooth hair cascaded over her shoulders. I could tell she had just applied a bit of makeup, though hunger made her look quite haggard. Seeing this, I appeared very composed on the outside, but inside, intense waves were already surging. Furthermore, the moment I stepped through the door, I heard the notification bell from the system. We hadn't seen each other for only 2 days, yet this woman's favorability toward me had jumped from 90, suddenly skyrocketed to 30, creating an incredible leap in favorability. This proves something is definitely going down tonight. However, I still tried to suppress the excitement rising in my heart. In a very calm tone, I said, "Bai Ji Nuna, why did you call me over in the middle of the night? I'm just afraid your husband might misunderstand." Even though in my heart I knew full well the purpose of this woman calling me at this hour, but that couldn't stop the fact that I wanted her to clearly recognize her position first. Sure enough, seeing Jiang Wei come when called, yet not showing the excitement she expected. Bai Ji Nuna looked slightly disappointed, she had thought. The man before her was longing for her. But now it seems she had just overthought it. For a moment she didn't know how to speak properly. Bai Ji Nuna just stuttered, unable to form a sentence. Making even me feel impatient on her behalf. In a somewhat impatient tone, I said, "Bai Ji Nuna, just say whatever's on your mind. Whatever I can help with, I certainly will." Hearing me say that, Bai Ji Nuna's eyes suddenly turned red. She almost said, "It's nothing," but the gnawing hunger deep within her body cruelly stopped her from doing so. She gritted her teeth and closed her eyes. "I just want to ask you one thing. What you said 2 days ago, is it still valid?" Jiang Wei smiled. She's finally saying it. "What words? It's been a while, I don't really remember clearly." Jiang Wei knew exactly what this woman was referring to, but I couldn't resist the urge to push her a bit further. "It's about what you said that day." Bai Ji blushed deeply. She was restless and worried, constantly fiddling with her fingers. "What?" Jiang Wei continued to feign ignorance. Her shy and graceful appearance was truly too adorable. "Oh boy. I mean what you said, as long as I'm willing to be your woman, then you would." Bai Ji hadn't even finished speaking, but by now her face was already completely red. She was so anxious she seemed about to stomp her feet in place. How could this man not remember that? Jiang Wei found this actually quite humorous, but I also understood that teasing must have its limits, and so, Jiang Wei pretended as if he had just remembered something. "I remember now, I remember. It's been so long, Bai Ji Nuna. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Hearing this, Bai Ji Nuna's cheeks became even redder. Only now did she react to everything, knowing full well that Jiang Wei was teasing her. Seriously, this guy. What's with this boy? Of course it still counts. The words I've spoken are always valid. Jiang Wei smiled radiantly. Under Bai Ji's astonished gaze, I gave a sharp wave of my hand. The very next second, a table full of steaming hot food suddenly appeared before her eyes. These were the dishes I had carefully prepared beforehand, and always kept carefully in my personal space. Through many days of experience, I had long since discovered that this space has an extremely good food preservation capability. No matter what item is put inside, it can maintain its initial fresh state. It's just like a miraculous natural freezer. But things didn't stop there. Once Jiang Wei decided to show off his power, I was determined to give this woman an unforgettable lesson. I waved my hand one more time. Countless food items suddenly appeared, filling the entire room. These divine tier moves, for Bai Ji, was certainly an enormous psychological shock. Her red lips hung open in total shock, but in the very next second, 2 ill-timed stomach growls rang out, leaving her no mind to think any further. "Why? Can you let me eat a little something first? I haven't had a grain of rice in my stomach for days." Bai Ji blushed so much she didn't know where to hide. The stomach growling made her feel incredibly ashamed before me. However, even if the goddess was flustered with embarrassment, her beauty remained a lethal weapon. Of course, all of this belongs to you. After receiving Jiang Wei's consent, Bai Ji couldn't wait any longer and slumped onto the sofa. Thank you so much, Jiang Wei. Ting. Congratulations, host, the goddess. Bai Ji has increased her favorability toward the host. Current favorability is at 40. There was no scene of devouring food as Jiang Wei had imagined. She still ate very slowly and with great elegance. Truly the manner of a mature woman. This aura was truly displayed exceptionally well. Jiang Wei didn't stand on ceremony either. I casually put my arm around her soft, slender shoulders. Bai Ji's whole body suddenly went stiff, but she didn't say a word to stop me. Instead, she continued to nibble on small bites of food. Jiang Wei appeared very satisfied with this reaction of hers. This saved you the trouble of doing psychological work. Just enjoy your meal. Eat more, you need a full stomach to have the strength to work. Jiang Wei smiled affectionately at the beauty in his arms. Such a peerless beauty. I stroked her silky hair. This woman was now just like a pet of mine, so obedient. Half an hour later, after eating her fill, Bai Ji and Nuna let out a satisfied burp. This was the best and most filling meal she had had since the apocalypse disaster began to descend. All her exhaustion had completely vanished. She had found her true self again. Her whole being seemed reborn, full of life. No longer looking bedraggled and haggard as before, she glanced at the remaining food on the table. In fact, less than a tenth of it was gone, truly because I had brought out too much food. She couldn't possibly finish it all alone. The woman still showed clear signs of embarrassment. Oppa, could you let me have these leftovers? Let's not let them go to waste. After tasting the harsh brutality of the apocalypse, she understood even more the precious value of food. But no one expected what happened next. Jiang Wei simply waved his hand and said with a smile, "Don't worry. All of this food belongs to you. And it's not just this. All the food in this room is yours too. No one's going to fight you for it, so don't worry." Hearing Jiang Wei say that, Bai Ji Nuna felt extremely happy. But what made her even happier was yet to come. Moreover, I have an unwritten rule. My woman must eat the best and use the best. So these ordinary things aren't even necessary. They're just garbage. I'm afraid in this whole upside-down apocalyptic world, only Jiang Wei would have the guts to say those words. Thanks to possessing his personal space, I don't have to worry at all about food spoiling. Rest assured, I'll never let my woman suffer. A sentence full of domineering aura moved a lady like Bai Ji to the point of choking up. Her eyes looking at Jiang Wei now were filled with sparkling stars. It was a sign of extreme admiration and worship. King, congratulations, host, the goddess. Bai Ji has increased her favorability toward the host. Current favorability is 50. Jiang Wei smiled gently. Because I clearly understood one thing. This woman was about to be completely conquered by me. However, at this moment, Jiang Wei suddenly changed his attitude. I held the beauty tightly in my arms, making her breath come in gasps. I stopped teasing her to make her suffer. Bai Ji and Nuna, don't you forget. We already had an agreement between us. You've had your fill, but I'm still hungry. Just as he finished speaking, I lunged toward Bai Ji and Nuna. This scene is truly too enticing. Let me help everyone keep watching. 2 hours later. Ping, system detected. Goddess Bai Jie, favorability toward the host has officially reached 60. Successfully illuminated Goddess Bai Jie's specialized profile. Goddess Bai Jie. Constitution, innate matron holy body. Occupation, foreign language teacher. Age, 32. Overall score, 97. Favorability, 65. Number of maintenance sessions, 3. System, open my attribute panel. Jiang Wei gently comforted Bai Ji beside him, while checking the rewards gained after illuminating Bai Ji. Host, Jiang Wei. Age, 24. Ability level, Tier 2. Awakened Power, Space King SSS rank. Telekinesis, SSS rank. Already illuminated Goddess Chen Jiai. This harvest from Bai Ji was truly magnificent. First of all, the ability level has been raised to Tier 2. Along with that is the SSS rank telekinetic power. This is a way to unlock my mental potential, and that very power which had just been awakened, the moment it finished awakening, automatically came with a special telekinetic sensory ability. Within its range, telekinesis can fully cover every nook and cranny. Any slight movement within that controlled area won't be able to escape my notice. This is truly the best tool to avoid all dangers. Seeing this powerful ability, Jiang Wei was extremely excited. I hastily turned toward the next room, where the two sisters were fast asleep, to test the ability a bit. Sure enough, everything appeared crystal clear before my eyes. Right now, little Yao Yao is just like a koala, clinging tightly to her older sister as she slept soundly. By the next morning, after Zhang Wei had personally prepared a breakfast full of love, I secretly slipped back into my own room. I still hadn't thought of a perfect way to talk to the sisters. I didn't want to lose the watermelon just to pick up a sesame seed. Both the beautiful lady and the sisters are top tier. I can't miss out on anyone. Zhang Wei had just barely set foot back in his room, when immediately after, the girl named Jia Yi appeared. I secretly felt a bit lucky that over the past few days, Zhang Wei hadn't stepped out the door. The food reserves were still enough to use comfortably, plus the fact that the threats outside this residential area had all been settled by my own hands. For now, I can be at ease without worrying about being ambushed by enemies. That's why during these few days, by day I focused on training and familiarizing myself with my powers, and every time the pitch-black night descended, Zhang Wei would immediately sneak over to the house across the way. And reality proved that my efforts were well rewarded. Baiji's favorability toward me rose straight from 60 to 82, less than greater than. If compared with the Jia Yi sisters, less than greater than. Baiji's favorability progress, less than greater than. Looked as if she was using cheat software. She was certainly the one with the fastest progress, of course, but the greatest achievement was obtaining a new SSS rank power. And the meaning of telekinesis, psychokinesis, controlling the movement of objects through telekinetic energy. It allows for remote control of weapons to perform long-range sniping. To put it simply, it's the same style as the Galaxy Lord. And after a few days of diligent practice, I have gone from only being able to control a single fruit knife to being able to control 10 fruit knives simultaneously. So to summarize, you've been living quite a carefree and relaxed life these past few days. However, these carefree days wouldn't last for very long. The 15th day since the apocalypse descended, the era of no water, no electricity, and no gas has finally arrived. The entire world has completely descended into madness. Due to the sudden power outage, both sisters were quite panicked. Luckily, Zhang Wei was already prepared. He immediately brought out the machine. A generator had brought from the supermarket and connected it. What's more, it's a silent model. The lack of water isn't a problem either. He had already moved plenty of bottled water from the supermarket. It's enough for both bathing and drinking. But the only problem now is the diesel used to fuel the generator. It won't last much longer. At most, it'll be completely gone in 2 or 3 days. It's okay. I plan to head out tomorrow to a nearby gas station to get some diesel. Under the dim light, Zhang Wei held the elder sister Chen Jiayi with one arm and the younger sister Chen Jiadao with the other. At this moment, this is the only way he can comfort the two sisters. The sudden darkness frightened the two sisters out of their wits, but because their monthly visitor had arrived for both of them, they couldn't engage in any in-depth communication. Once I awaken my superpower, I'll be able to help you from then on, Chen Jiayi said firmly while in his arms. According to Zhang Wei's observation, the progress of her superpower awakening has reached 98%. She'll be fully awakened within the next 2 days. After coaxing the two sisters back to their room, Zhang Wei immediately headed to the apartment across the hall. Bai Ji had been waiting for him in the living room for a while. As soon as he walked through the door, Bai Ji naturally wrapped her arms around his neck and then sat on him just as naturally. They'd grown quite familiar over the past few days after all. Did you rest well last night? Zhang Wei chuckled. After being cared for these past few days, this woman's mature aura has become even more intoxicating. Bai Ji gave him a sidelong glance, but there wasn't a hint of reproach in her eyes. Instead, they were full of affection. Oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm planning to go to a nearby gas station. Don't go outside unless it's necessary. If you're scared, just go across to the other unit, okay? Thinking about having to leave tomorrow. He thought it best to give her some instructions before heading out. Then you must be very careful out there. After several days of zero-distance contact, Bai Ji has come to see the younger man before her as her sole pillar of support in this apocalypse. Seeing the concern in the eyes of the woman in his arms, Zhang Wei grinned. Are you that worried about me? How about giving me some motivation before I go? Bai Ji's jade-like finger lightly traced Zhang Wei's face. Her ruby lips slowly approached my ear. How do you want your lady to help you? Upon hearing that, the blood rushed to Zhang Wei's head. He immediately pinned Bai Jie to the floor. It was a beautiful sight. I've checked it out for everyone. On the following day, after a night of replenishing his energy and spirit, Zhang Wei set off from upstairs. Watching the back of her man as he departed, Chen Jiayi was lost in thought. The younger sister Xiao Ya was beside her, mistakenly thinking her sister was worried, hurriedly comforted her. Oppa is so powerful, it'll be fine. Now every time this little girl mentions her brother-in-law, her eyes are full of twinkling stars and pure admiration. Chen Jiayi dotingly ruffled her sister's hair. Xiao Yao, do Do you think it would be nice if we had another sister to look after you? What do you think? Chun Jiayi's eyes shifted slightly as she said this. That would be great, definitely. But would Oppa agree to that? You silly girl, your brother-in-law is so kind. I'm sure he'll agree. Hearing her sister's words, Chen Jiayi felt as though a weight had been lifted. At the same time, she looked up toward the apartment across the hall. Jiang Wei had just left Building 5, but he didn't head straight to the gas station. Instead, he made a trip to Building 6 first. It's been a few days after all, and I wonder how that widow Cheng Ying is holding up. In front of the door to room 1302, Building 6. Knock, knock. There was immediate movement from inside. Through telepathic sensing, I saw behind the door a woman holding a fruit knife on high alert. Cheng Ying, it's me. Hearing the familiar voice, Cheng Ying finally sighed with relief and opened the door. Is it you, you bad man? You haven't even bothered to visit me for days. I thought you'd completely forgotten about me. Cheng Ying spoke in a pouting tone. Her words were full of grievance. She truly regretted it. Ever since this man left that day, she felt exceptionally lonely, especially since the power went out last night. If it weren't for the man standing before her, who had prepared candles for her in advance, she really wouldn't have been able to take it. What's wrong with our Cheng Ying? Have you missed me this much after just a few days? Jiang Wei gave a wicked laugh, naturally wrapping his arm around the woman's slender waist, always so indecent. Pulled into Zhang Wei's embrace, Cheng Ying instinctively struggled for a moment, failing to break free. She could only blush and say a word. This part is too tedious. I'll skip this segment for everyone. 2 hours later, Zhang Wei drove an off-road vehicle out of the garage. I drove through the streets, basically sending any zombies I encountered flying. Only a few stubborn ones clung tightly to the off-road vehicle. But he eventually sent them on their way with fruit knives, so the entire journey was considered smooth. The gas station Zhang Wei intended to visit was about 10 kilometers away from the complex. If it were before the apocalypse, a press on the gas would get you there in 10 minutes. But it's the apocalypse now. The roads are littered with stalled vehicles, zombies chasing from behind, so just getting to the gas station took more than half an hour. Although it took some time, at least I arrived safely. Before getting out, Zhang Wei scanned the area with his telepathic sensing. Though the sensing range was only 100 meters, at most I could only see the situation at the convenience store at the station entrance, but I still felt a bit more confident in my heart. There weren't many zombies in the convenience store, only about 7 or 8 of them, presumably the gas station employees. To be safe, I still took out the Tang sword. For now. The Tang sword is still the best weapon for me to charge in with. I headed toward the inside of the convenience store. The oil storage tanks are located beneath the convenience store. Passing through this store is unavoidable. As soon as I entered, the zombies heard the noise and rushed toward me one by one. They hadn't seen prey for a long time, just like rabid dogs, going crazy as if seeing a delicious meal. No time for second thoughts. Jiang Wei drew his Tang sword and delivered several swift slashes. Though unused for days, the Tang sword remained incredibly sharp. Killing zombies felt incredibly smooth. Before long, I had finished off those 7 or 8 zombies, following the principle of taking what's available. Jiang Wei didn't forget to clear out this small convenience store, storing it all away, even small scraps or meat. I continued heading down. The supermarket has a back door, leading to the underground oil tank storage. But the door was locked tight. Zhang Wei swung his Tang sword. The massive alloy padlock was instantly destroyed. I scanned the area with telekinesis first. After seeing there were no issues, I then stepped inside. In case of sudden emergencies in the basement, emergency lights were installed. The lights flickered on as soon as I entered, and before my eyes were 3 massive oil storage tanks. Each tank was marked as 50 cubic meters. 2 of them contained gasoline, 1 contained diesel. A total of 150 cubic meters. Based on the formula of 1 cubic meter per 1,000 liters, roughly estimated, there are about 150,000 liters of liquid fuel. The amount of fuel alone could easily fill up 2,500 cars, the kind with 60-liter tanks, leaving Zhang Wei grinning ear to ear. Collect them all for me. This time, for the time being, there's no need to worry about running out of fuel. There's also a KFC next to the gas station. This 24-hour fast food joint is now completely shut down as well. But just as I walked in, a zombie wearing a KFC uniform charged toward me, but was warmly greeted by a fruit knife, thinking of the tastes of the women back home, lest they grow tired of eating delicacies every day and lose their appetite. So Zhang Wei decided to take the fried chicken machinery back with him too. So if they want fried chicken, they can have a change of pace. He went to the storage room. With a wave of his hand, all the equipment was stored in his subspace. Done. Now this is perfect. Turning around to leave the KFC, unexpectedly, looking through the window the next second. Right at the gas station entrance, a horde of zombies had gathered at some point, in dense numbers. At a glance, there must have been about 100 of them. Moreover, these zombies were all focusing their gaze on this KFC. Clearly, I have become the target of this zombie horde. But what I find strange is, even though the horde, in the pale eyes of the zombies, the look of wanting to eat me alive was evident, they didn't immediately rush to attack me. Something's not right. It's completely abnormal, just as Jiang Wei was wondering. The system provided the answer the next second. Ding. Host, please pay attention. A zombie has been detected. It's appeared. It's appeared. The apocalypse is cow cow. The first mutated zombie has appeared. Now that I see the zombie appear, it's not that surprising. After all, almost half a month has passed. Even a shut-in with the potential of a savior like Wan Yi has already awakened. So it's not impossible for zombies that have eaten many survivors to undergo evolution one by one. Besides, I'm already a level 2 ability user. These level 1 small fry are nothing. Won't they be dealt with all too easily? However, this level 1 zombie is clearly hiding very well. For a moment, its whereabouts still haven't been discovered. And right then, a sudden zombie roar echoed. This roar was distinctly different from ordinary zombies. It sounded much sharper and more piercing. Jiang Wei looked toward the sound, found it. Under my telepathic sensing, I saw that behind the zombie horde, in an inconspicuous corner of a concrete pillar, a short, fat zombie expanding horizontally had appeared in my sight. This zombie was less than a meter tall, but weighed at least 100 kilograms. Its round body looked incredibly heavy. Looking from afar, it looked exactly like a damned pile of lard lying there. Low-level controller zombie, rank 1. Peak awakening, rotten flesh ability. At least it's rank C. Note, low-level controllers are usually zombies with ability levels from 1 to 3. They can control other zombies to serve them, turning them into their minions. No wonder it could gather so many zombies. It turns out there's a leader. Following the roar of this short, fat zombie, the horde, the zombies at the door were like they'd been switched on, growling and charging straight at me. Though they aren't fast and stagger along, 100 of them at once still looks very aggressive. Jiang Wei didn't care in the slightest. Griping his tang sword, he lunged out like an arrow from a bow. The tang sword in his hand flashed. The fastest zombies immediately had their heads severed from their necks. With another spinning leap, over a dozen zombies were sliced in half, severed limbs scattered across the floor. But these zombies are motionless killers. Despite me quickly killing dozens of them, others from behind continued to fill the gaps. Before long, I was surrounded by layers upon layers of zombies, trapped tightly in the center. Furthermore, unlike the zombies I've killed before, these zombies attack and bite in a much more organized fashion. Although I trust in my own strength, these zombies are no match for me. But to save trouble, I still decided to capture the leader to catch the bandits. I must deal with that short, fat zombie first. Once that fat zombie dies, this horde will be easy to handle. Thinking thus, I focus my mind, use psychokinesis, fire. 10 fruit knives immediately flew out, arranging themselves in an arrow formation, charging toward one side. Everywhere they passed, the surrounding zombies fell in droves. The fat one standing outside saw this, and immediately grew frantic, emitting piercing shrieks and roars, but it was already too late. Within just a few short seconds, Jiang Wei had broken out of the zombie encirclement. The tip of his blade pointed straight at the short, fat zombie. Seeing that things weren't right, this fat zombie actually knew how to flee. Urgent growls constantly emitted from its mouth, and its speed was not slow at all, moving a body of over 100 kilograms, even faster than ordinary zombies, as expected of an awakened zombie. Its intelligence has increased. Even its physical coordination is much better. However, compared to Jiang Wei, it has no chance at all. In just a blink, Jiang Wei caught up to this short, fat zombie. The tang sword slashed heavily into the fat zombie's neck. The next second, the nearly 150 kilograms fat zombie collapsed to the ground. Black blood from its bloated body slowly seeped out. At the same time, a transparent white crystal fell to the ground, emitting a brilliant light, immediately catching Jiang Wei's attention. This is a zombie core. I examined the quail egg-sized core in my hand. Holding the core in my palm, I felt a faint stream of energy, slowly flowing into my body, being absorbed by me. The feeling was extremely pleasant. Under the nourishment of this energy, the ability energy I just spent in the battle was not only fully restored, but my ability level broke through to the middle stage. Can this core help with leveling up? Correct, host. Whether it's humans or zombies, Both have a certain chance to awaken abilities. Their cores can all be absorbed to enhance your own ability level. Jiang Wei was delighted. Great. Now there's another way to level up my abilities. Less than greater than. Lately, less than greater than. I could only grind on Chen Jia and Bai Jie. Less than greater than. To level up. Less than greater than. Now that I know the effect of these zombie cores, after Chen Jia awakens her superpower, I can take her out to hunt monsters. I put away this zombie core. Before the apocalypse happened, I frequently delivered food in this area. So I'm very familiar with the place. If I remember correctly, Donghai City's largest mall, Baolong Square, is right nearby. It would be a waste not to go scavenging for supplies in such a place. With my 10,000 cubic meters subspace, in a blink I drove to the foot of the mall. Skipping the jewelry on the first floor, I headed straight to the second floor. The second floor is all cosmetic. Even though I don't use them, my women will certainly need them. With a wave of my hand, everything was gathered into my pockets. Continuing further up, I finally reached the third floor I'd been waiting for. The third floor is the clothing section. I went straight to my target this time, Balenciaga. Upon entering, all kinds of stockings, they are extremely well stocked. Black, white, nude. It's truly dazzling. Balenciaga is truly a place that makes men slow down. Jiang Wei grinned happily. This is enough for the women back home to use. Eyeing up the stockings. The matching uniforms, of course, can't be missed either. Flight attendant uniforms, nurse uniforms, and so on, all of them collected. These things at critical moments can actually increase attack speed. Not a single item was left behind. The third floor has also been completely cleared by my hands. So I prepare to head down to the supermarket in the basement. But after taking just a few steps, a sense of danger instantly enveloped me. As expected, in the next second, a fireball appeared. A dense fireball was hurtling straight toward me. Crap, I instinctively dodged. The fireball slammed into the wall, exploded instantly. Jiang Wei turned to look back. Behind the staircase, a zombie whose entire body was ablaze was staring intently at me. Zombie, a fire zombie. Late rank 1, awakened with level 1 fireball ability. Yet another rank 1 zombie that has awakened an ability. What a crafty little sneak. Actually daring to ignore ethics. Resorting to a sneak attack, are we? Die for me. In his fury, Jiang Wei immediately opened a spatial black hole. He pulled out a Desert Eagle equipped with a silencer and began firing frantically. 5 minutes later, this fire zombie was shot to pieces. It collapsed on the floor. Even its core fell out. It was a red crystal core, similar in size to the previous one. This time, Jiang Wei didn't dare be careless. He kept his telepathic sensing on the entire way down, quickly reaching the first basement floor. Right at the basement supermarket entrance, Jiang Wei saw several charred black corpses. It was impossible to tell male from female anymore. I guessed it was the work of that fire zombie from earlier. This heightened my alertness by several notches. I drew my Tang sword. I tried to push open the damaged door, but surprisingly, it wouldn't open with a single push. Using telepathic sensing to look inside, I saw that the supermarket door was blocked from within. Furthermore, there was a woman nearby, holding a fruit knife, staring intently at the door. But when I clearly saw the woman's exquisite face, Jiang Wei was stunned. Holy crap. It's Yang Mi, scanning detected an innate mature lady holy body. Matches the system requirements. Host, please collect her immediately. She's here. Cao Cao has found himself another woman. Jiang Wei never would have expected to encounter someone famous throughout China right here. A major, red-hot superstar. Yang Mi. I used to be a hardcore fan of hers. Thinking back to the system notification just now. Innate mature lady holy body. I became even more excited. So with a racing heart and trembling hands, I knocked on the supermarket door. Is anyone in there? At this moment, on the other side of the door, Jiang Wei's telepathic sensing was not wrong at all. Separated by a door. The woman holding the fruit knife was none other than the superstar Yang Mi herself. Actually, during this time, she's been both lucky and unlucky. She's lucky to still be alive. When the apocalypse arrived, she had been invited to Baolong Square for a commercial performance, thinking it was just a quick show. But unexpectedly, before the performance even started that day, the world suddenly underwent a terrifying transformation. Many people instantly turned into zombie monsters, madly devouring people everywhere. She watched with her own eyes as the assistant who'd been with her for years was frantically torn apart by zombies in the end. Nothing was left but a skeleton. The memory of that scene still makes her shiver with horror. Facing this sudden upheaval, if not for the bodyguards accompanying her, risking their lives to block the zombie attacks, allowing her to escape into this basement supermarket, she likely wouldn't have escaped death either. And the misfortune is that she is currently the only survivor left. And she's also trapped in this place. Actually, those who hid in the basement supermarket with her earlier included her agent and 2 bodyguards as well. They were pursued all the way here by the terrifying zombies. They immediately sent out distress messages afterward, relying on the supplies inside the supermarket. The 4 of them spent 2 days like that in constant fear, desperately hoping for the rescue team to arrive soon. However, there was still no sign of the rescue team. Instead, they saw a piece of shocking news online. The whole world was infected by a mysterious virus. A terrifying zombie pandemic had broken out. The apocalypse had truly descended. Even the government issued an announcement asking citizens to wait for help. At first, the 4 of them thought it was just a false rumor, so they risked going outside to check for themselves. As a result, they saw it with their own eyes. Every street was filled with zombies with twisted, ferocious faces, and Baolong Square, where they were staying, because there was a commercial performance happening, it became the area hit hardest by the zombie disaster. Terrifying zombies were present everywhere. In that dire situation, they were forced to retreat downstairs to the basement supermarket, but misfortune was still waiting for them. On their way back to the basement supermarket, they were spotted by a flaming zombie monster. Her manager and 2 bodyguards sacrificed themselves to protect her. Because the basement supermarket had only this one exit, and because of that, she was completely trapped inside this basement supermarket. During all these past days, she relied on the supermarket to be able to survive until now. Even if she didn't have to worry about food or clothes, the only suffering was being all alone. It was truly far too lonely. Therefore, Yang Mi, who hadn't heard a human voice for half a month, suddenly heard a noise outside. At first, her heart skipped a beat. Could it be the distress signal that I sent out earlier actually worked? But she quickly realized something was wrong. If it were really a rescue team, then why would it take more than half a month to get here? She slightly furrowed her beautiful eyebrows. Suspicion couldn't help but rise in her heart. So who is the person coming? Her experiences since the start of the apocalypse made her always maintain a state of high vigilance, not daring to open the door recklessly, so she decided to stay silent. Jiang Wei saw there was no movement inside. I had already used my telekinesis to observe. Only Sister Mi was inside. Hearing my voice and not opening the door immediately, I naturally understood what she was thinking. Actually, if I weren't afraid of scaring Sister Mi inside, I would have broken the door down and rushed in already. This wouldn't be difficult for me at all. Yang Mi, I know you're in there. If you don't open the door, I'm leaving. Jiang Wei was definitely just scaring Sister Mi. Who would be foolish enough to walk away from such a prize? Sure enough, my playing hard to get tactic worked. Sister Mi inside, upon hearing that the person outside could call out her name correctly, immediately blurted out by instinct, "Don't go." I'm opening the door, there's no shortage of supplies in here. But there's also a fatal problem, and that is, power source for this basement supermarket is running low. The power to this supermarket had been cut long ago. Currently, it relies mainly on a backup generator. But for the last 2 days, the lights have been flickering constantly. According to her estimation, the electricity will soon be completely gone. At that time, how she would continue to survive would be a major issue. Moreover, how much longer could she endure this loneliness alone? Jiang Wei gave a slight smile, standing still and waiting patiently. A moment later, the supermarket door was opened from inside. The first thing that caught my eye was Sister Mi's enchanting, fox-like face. Perhaps from being in the basement too long, her complexion was a bit pale, but that didn't diminish her exquisite look at all. Just by standing, a strong, seductive aura radiated from her, sexy yet mature, truly worthy of the title of a top-tier goddess. "Did you come specifically to save me?" Sister Mi observed the stranger in front of her. Although Jiang Wei wasn't overly handsome, only on the level of screen idols like Wu Yanzu, but my training over the past few days hadn't been in vain. Face with chiseled features, healthy bronze skin along with strong, muscular limbs, highlighted my radiant masculinity. Visibly, it made Sister Mi feel that Jiang Wei was quite tough, and gave her a sense of stability and reliability, causing her to involuntarily lower her guard a bit. "Ting, congratulations, host Goddess Yang Mi's favorability has increased by 5 points. Current favorability. Indeed, no matter when, this world, towards handsome men like me, is always full of goodwill." Regarding the fruit knife Sister Mi was hiding behind her back, Jiang Wei acted as if he didn't see it. On the contrary, I even somewhat admired the vigilance she maintained. "Yes, but from a certain perspective. I really can save you from here." Seeing Sister Mi's puzzled look, Jiang Wei smiled without answering. It was just that. My gaze swept over Sister Mi's exquisite beauty and gradually descended all the way down to her jade-like legs. "Sister Mi, I, Jiang Wei, don't save people without a price." Being observed so shamelessly by Jiang Wei, Sister Mi felt a bit uncomfortable. What price? Sister Mi had a faint bad premonition. The fruit knife in her hand was unconsciously gripped tighter. She seemed to know what the man in front of her wanted to do. Shang Wei saw this but didn't say anything more. As a die-hard fan of Sister Mi, I knew how many years she'd been in the entertainment industry, without ever accepting any unspoken rules. Forcing her to submit immediately was unrealistic. No matter how much I wanted to feast, I had to take it slow, like boiling a frog. Just take it easy. I must give her a glimmer of hope for life first. In just a few breaths, I had already outlined in my head a perfect plan to conquer the goddess. Before that, you have to tell me the situation here first. Seeing that Shang Wei wasn't forcing her, Sister Mi secretly breathed a sigh of relief instead, and recounted her entire situation. 10 minutes later, after listening to her story, Jiang Wei couldn't help but sigh. Truly, arriving early isn't as good as arriving at the right time. If I had arrived just a few days later, then this goddess Mi would have likely perished. You don't need to worry. That flaming zombie has already been killed by me. After hearing Jiang Wei speak, Sister Mi's nerves, which had been stretched like a bowstring, were immediately relaxed. If you've already killed it, then what did you come here for? Naturally, to collect supplies. Jiang Wei answered and didn't even bother with her. Instead, he walked straight into the basement supermarket. Next was a cool display of power in front of the goddess. In this supermarket, only Sister Mi had lived here for a while, so most of the goods were still well preserved. Even thanks to the generator, the meat in the freezer was still fresh. I went up to a row of temporary shelves and suddenly stopped. Sister Mi, following behind, felt a bit curious. You came for supplies without even bringing a backpack. Then, under Sister Mi's astonished gaze, Jiang Wei waved his hand. An entire row of goods and shelves vanished completely. No matter how experienced Sister Mi was, she was left gaping in shock at this scene. How? How did you do that? Jiang Wei really enjoyed this feeling of showing off. If one lives in this world without being able to show off, then there's no meaning left to life. You mean this? This is an ability I recently awakened. It's for collecting and storing things. You can think of it as a type of superpower. The more nonchalantly Jiang Wei spoke, the more Sister Mi felt that I was extraordinary, and unconsciously blurted out, "Then can I do it too?" Her thinking was very simple. If she also had that ability, then she wouldn't have to fear the zombies outside anymore, and wouldn't need to hide away in this basement, this tiny supermarket anymore. Jiang Wei stopped collecting the supplies. He turned around, looked Sister Mi up and down with a smirk. "It's possible, but I'm afraid you won't be willing, because my help comes with a price." "What price?" Seeing that Sister Mi looked very serious, Jiang Wei didn't waste any more words, suddenly stepped forward and pulled Sister Mi into his arms. "Be my woman. That is the price." Updated. Episode 11 of Apocalypse's Cow Thief is here. At this moment, Sister Mi felt insulted. A flush of embarrassment appeared on her face. She tried to struggle and break free. Jiang Wei let go of her as well. "It seems you're not willing." After saying that, Jiang Wei turned and walked away. He seemed so decisive, but in fact, my eyes were glued to the system panel to monitor Sister Mi's favorability toward me. When I saw it didn't drop, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I collected as I walked, wherever I passed. All supplies were cleared out, until I came to a hidden corner. I stopped once again, because there were two small pieces of cloth swaying in the breeze. On the floor was a basin, water shimmering under the overhead light. Yang Mi saw this and her face turned bright red. Oh no. How could I have completely forgotten the set I just changed out of? Just as she was about to rush over, she saw Jiang Wei had already turned and walked elsewhere. She immediately let out a long sigh of relief. Congratulations, host. Goddess Yang Mi's favorability toward the host has increased. It is currently 15 points. Jiang Wei chuckled inwardly. Didn't expect Sister Mi to like wearing such seductive lace. After Jiang Wei had made a full circuit, the entire supermarket in the basement was cleared into my space. My personal space by this time. Seeing Jiang Wei move all the items away, Sister Mi suddenly realized a very serious problem. You've taken everything. Then what about me? This guy's cleaning was truly spotless. The whole supermarket looked as if it had been licked clean. But he didn't leave her even a single crumb. Almost forgot about Sister Mi. How about I leave you a few loaves of bread? Jiang Wei pretended to have just remembered. Anyway, the goods were already in my pocket. Asking me to take them out again was impossible. Sister Mi also understood this only too well. But there was nothing she could do. She seemed to have fallen into a trap. Only at this moment did Jiang Wei reveal a cunning smile like an old wolf tricking a lamb. "Ha ha, Sister Mi. Look, I've collected everything. Even if I gave them to you, you couldn't carry much. Besides, it's not safe for you to carry them. Furthermore, as a woman in these times, in this apocalypse, how can you protect yourself? How about you just follow me back for now? I, Jiang Wei, will absolutely guarantee your safety. Don't worry, I promise I won't do anything to you." Though she knew this guy was using words to lure her in. In her heart, she also understood very clearly that what Zhang Wei said was undeniable. Continuing to stay here and wait for rescue was impossible. Besides, it's been so long and no one has come to save her. Whether anyone would come later was another matter. The main thing was the phone didn't have a shred of signal left. Trying to call for help was out of the question. But if she were forced to face the terrifying zombies out there alone, then she simply wasn't capable of it. Sister Mi weighed her options, aside from the way proposed by the man in front of her. She had no other path to take, but the problem was if she followed him back, then she feared she would have to. While Sister Mi was still hesitating, Zhang Wei kept on smirking, continuing to admire the goddess' smooth figure. I didn't show the slightest bit of haste, as if everything was already in the palm of my hand. I even felt a bit of regret in my heart. If only some small-time villain would appear right now, that way I could. That thought had just flashed by, when a shout rang out, "Yang Mi, I finally found you. Come back and be my woman." Ha ha ha. Hearing the voice, Zhang Wei looked over and saw a fat man in a suit weighing at least 100 kilos, hurrying toward them. His eyes were filled with lust for Yang Mi. Behind him, a group of lackeys brandished knives and sticks. Sister Mi, seeing that sight, her face suddenly became extremely grim. "Sister Mi, do you know him?" Seeing her unsettled look, I asked. His name is Yu Wendu. His family owns this Baolong Square. Before the apocalypse, he was always stalking and harassing me." Saying this, Sister Mi didn't need to go into more detail. Zhang Wei already understood everything. In this entertainment industry, everyone knows about those things. "Don't worry, I'm here now." Zhang Wei directly embraced. Sister Miss Slim, soft-waist, I could feel her body trembling, being held so brazenly by a younger man. Sister Mi instinctively moved to resist, but then her reason overcame her body's natural reaction. This man's broad chest gave her a sense of safety she hadn't felt in a long time. "King, congratulations, host goddess. Yang Mi's favorability toward the host has increased. It is currently 20 points. Haha, Yang Mi, no wonder I couldn't find you. So you were hiding all the way down here. It's the apocalypse now. No one can stop me anymore. Ha." The eldest young master Yu had just arrived and stared blatantly at Yang Mi, truly the demeanor of a spoiled, profligate playboy. As for Zhang Wei, he had long been ignored by the man. To him, I was just a walking corpse. Brothers, same as usual. Kill the man, leave the woman for me. Seeing young Master Yu's henchmen pull out guns and aim them straight at him, Sister Mi couldn't help but scream in terror, but Zhang Wei didn't flinch at all. I directly opened his spatial black hole. In the next second, before Sister Mi's astonished eyes, all the bullets they fired vanished without a trace. "I told you I would protect you." Zhang Wei smiled gently, displaying his strength for Sister Mi to see. Was also a key point in my plan to conquer the goddess, and currently the initial results are clearly quite favorable. This performance left Sister Mi stunned. "King, congratulations, host." Goddess Yang Mi's favorability toward the host has increased. It has now reached 30 points. Young Master Yu saw the man opposite him, still exchanging flirtatious glances with Yang Mi. Immediately flew into a rage. "How the hell are you bastards shooting? Get out of the way, let me." He kicked the henchman aside and snatched the gun from his hand. Bang, bang, bang. Aye. Amidst young Master Yu's wild laughter, a strange scene occurred once again. The bullets vanished once more. Furthermore, they disappeared right in front of his face. This time, even young Master Yu was dumbfounded. Where are my bullets?" Hearing that, Zhang Wei finally stopped his caressing hand. "Want your bullets back? Then I'll return them all to you." Zhang Wei aimed the output of the spatial black hole toward young Master Yu's henchmen. In the next second, the bullets they had just fired were returned as a gift to their own bodies. One by one, they fell to the ground. Only then did young Master Yu realize something was wrong. You've also awakened." "Our?" Zhang Wei was slightly surprised. Didn't expect this playboy to know about so-called awakened powers, but that didn't stop me from continuing to strike. Right then, in front of young Master Yu, two burly men armed to the teeth appeared. The system immediately provided an analytical report. One possessed wind-type power, the other possessed earth-type power, but they were only level 1. Young Master Yu panicked. These two awakened ones were specially arranged by his father to protect him. The reason he could run wild all this time was all thanks to the protection of these two. Uncle Zhang, Uncle Wang killed him for me. After receiving the order, the two awakened ones immediately activated their powers. One released wind blades, the other hurled earth bullets. Both were earth-rank powers. They looked quite menacing, but Zhang Wei cleared them easily with just one spatial black hole. At the same time, I slightly shifted my telekinesis, 10 fruit knives immediately appeared hovering in the air. It would be impolite not to return the favor. Taste my flying daggers. With those words, the 10 knives shot forth, tearing through the air. The two couldn't dodge in time. The battle ended as soon as it began. The 10 fruit knives didn't miss a single shot, all piercing directly into their heads. The bodies of the two awakened ones slumped to the ground, immediately followed by more glinting blades. All of young Master Yu's lackeys were sent by me to meet the King of Hell. Jiang Wei's performance was so powerful it left young Master Yu alone in an instant. He was frozen in fear. Only when the cold, sharp blade pressed against his fragile throat did he snap back to reality. Me, Sister Me. Jiang Wei directly interrupted the trembling man. Stop, I know you're very impressive. I don't want to hear it. Just tell me the location of your malls, supply warehouses, and I'll let you go. How about it? Baolong Square is the largest shopping center in Donghai City. The amount of supplies stored here must be massive. Such a great fortune. I absolutely could not let pass. Yu Wendu's eyes widened in surprise. Really? Jiang Wei nodded with a smile. That benevolent face looked exactly like an old wolf tricking a lamb. Sister Me in my arms found this scene extremely familiar. Just half an hour ago, this same man used that tactic to lure her into his trap. All right, I'll tell you. And so young Master Yu confessed everything. He only stopped short of saying what color underwear his sister wears. Can I go now? Looking at young Master Yu's expectant gaze, Jiang Wei's smile deepened, of course. Saying that, I raised the gun and pulled the trigger. It's here, a special update episode of Apocalypse's Cow Thief. At this moment, Sister Me witnessed the whole process. Her eyes were filled with adoration. This younger man's abilities were just too strong. Before, she had some hesitations about whether she should follow him. But after experiencing this, Sister Me realized clearly that she had to find a solid support. Otherwise, she would just be a lamb in the apocalypse, waiting to be slaughtered. And Jiang Wei was her best choice. Thinking this regarding my small movements on her waist, Sister Me not only didn't stop them, but on the contrary, even felt a bit of enjoyment. King, congratulations, host. Goddess Yaima's favorability toward the host has increased by 20 points and has now reached the 50-point mark. Jiang Wei chuckled softly. I knew my plan to conquer the goddess was pretty much nearly complete. A favorability level of 50 reached the intimacy stage. One more step and it would be closeness without any distance. As for how that closeness looks, well, it can only be he. The warehouse locations I pried from Yu Wendu's mouth totaled 4 places. Among them was one warehouse, located right in the outskirts near this Baolong Square. According to him, the supplies in this warehouse were worth at least several billion yuan. At first, Jiang Wei thought young Master Yu was talking nonsense, but when he actually saw it with his own eyes, I still couldn't help but exclaim in wonder. Worth noting is that there were over a dozen generators here, providing continuous, non-stop power. The cold storage system was fully equipped with all facilities, helping most of the goods in the warehouse remain almost entirely without damage or loss. Even many types of meat and fish still retain their freshness. It makes sense, because this is the supply warehouse for the entire Baolong Square, and Baolong is the largest shopping center in Donghai, so the product quality standards must be the highest, and now all of it has enriched me. When Jiang Wei finished collecting everything and looked back, the clock had struck nearly 6 p.m. Twilight had begun to fall. Seeing this, Jiang Wei had to quickly drive to take Sister Me back. Once it gets completely dark, the roads will become very difficult to travel. One must know that the zombies' sensitivity is even stronger at night than during the day. Fortunately, nothing happened along the way. As night fell, Jiang Wei didn't take Sister Me straight back to Building 5, but took her to Building 6 first. I planned to let Sister Me stay temporarily at Cheng Ying's place. This was also an unavoidable necessity. The sunset was slowly fading. Seeing this, Jiang Wei had no choice but to quickly drive back with Da Mi. Once the sky turned completely dark, the road would become hard to travel. You have to know that the zombies' sensitivity is stronger at night than during the day. Fortunately, the trip was uneventful. It was already dark. Jiang Wei didn't take Da Mi straight to Building 5. Instead, he took her to Building 6 first. He planned to let Da Mi stay at Cheng Ying's place for now. There was no other way. Persuading a single woman is always much easier than persuading a pair of sisters. Besides, if it really doesn't work, I'll just have to use a bit of force. I was actually fully prepared, intending to give Cheng Ying a lesson with a rod on behalf of Wang Yuan. But never in a million years did I expect. Before I could even introduce them, Da Mi and Cheng Ying suddenly hugged each other in excitement. Do you two know each other? That's right, Me and I were university friends. We were even best friends and roommates back in college. Jiang Wei thought to himself, what a remarkable coincidence. Since the power went out last night, so right now, Chen Ying's room is still lit by the candles that I had prepared beforehand. I set up the generator for Chen Ying, and the moment the lights flooded the room, it seemed to also ignite a spark of hope in the hearts of the two best friends, Da Mi and Chen Ying. They held each other tightly, overwhelmed with emotion, choked with feelings beyond words. As for Jiang Wei, he was enjoying the beautiful scenery unfolding before him. Thinking about the identities of these two beauties, I felt an indescribable surge of excitement. Seeing them standing side by side, Jiang Wei's throat went dry, and the air seemed to grow thick with heat. Seeming to notice Jiang Wei's unusual gaze, Da Mimi quickly made an excuse to take a shower and slipped into the bathroom. During her time trapped in the basement supermarket, she hadn't had a proper chance to take care of herself. Hearing the sound of the running water, Jiang Wei pulled Chen Ying directly into his embrace. "You rascal, you've been waiting for this, haven't you?" Sensing the fragrance of the woman in his arms, Jiang Wei couldn't hold back and plunged into a moment of passion. Half an hour later, when things had settled, a satisfied Jiang Wei walked out of Building 6. Because Da Mimi was there, hurried things along a bit to stay on schedule. In an excellent mood, Jiang Wei whistled as he headed back home. But much to his surprise, the moment he stepped inside, seeing the curvy woman walking out of the kitchen, I was completely stunned. "Bai Ji, what are you doing here at this hour?" I was lying in bed feeling blissful, as today wasn't just about physical satisfaction, but a deep spiritual joy as well. Because right after returning, I heard from Xiao Yao that her sister had specifically invited Bai Ji to move in and live with them. This innocent girl even asked if I agreed to it. Acting as her brother-in-law, Jiang Wei had to hide his true feelings. "Xiao Yao, as long as you're happy, it's fine. I don't mind sacrificing a little." In that moment, I immediately realized that a woman's intuition in certain matters truly far exceeds that of a man. What happened between Bai Ji and me couldn't be hidden from the observant Jia Yi, who is a very sophisticated woman. "Jia Yi, thank you for your understanding. If it were anyone else, knowing their man was fooling around outside while keeping his main wife at home like this, they probably would have caused a huge scene. But Jia Yi has remained remarkably calm so far, except for when things get a bit intense during our private moments. No, and the one who should be thanking you." In this moment, Jia Yi lifted her head from my chest, her gaze fixed on me with utter seriousness. "Without you, Xiao Yao and I probably wouldn't have survived this long. You work so hard outside searching for supplies, this is the least I can do for you. Besides, Sister Bai Ji joining us can truly make our family stronger and better, and it helps take some of the pressure off me as well." Of course, Jia Yi didn't say that last part out loud. Hearing these words from Jia Yi, Jiang Wei was deeply moved. Even though I'm a man, I can only imagine how much Jia Yi must have struggled before making this decision. Because what woman would ever want to share her man with someone else? "Don't worry, he'll take great care of you and Xiao Yao from now on. It's often said that behind every successful man is a woman who truly understands him. But in reality, having a woman is easy. The hard part is finding one who fully understands me. A man's happiness is actually quite simple. Doesn't he just want to be a king ignoring his royal duties?" 4. Jiang Wei had actually thought about coming clean to Jia Yi before. Sneaking around forever wasn't a long-term solution. Now that Bai Ji had paved the way, knowing Jia Yi's stance made everything much easier. I decided to be completely honest, confessing everything openly, including the situation with Chen Ying and Da Mi. "You even won over Yang Mi." Jia Yi had been deeply touched by Jiang Wei's promise to the two sisters, but now she was utterly stunned. Even though she had mentally prepared herself for more sisters in the future, she never imagined that her man would go out for just one trip and bring home a major superstar. This is absolutely beyond imagination. This man is simply too incredible. As a professional elite woman, she didn't even know what to say anymore. Jiang Wei was also taken aback. Wait a minute, is the superstar really the main point here? Shouldn't the point be that there are two of them? Sometimes Jiang Wei really couldn't understand the strange logic of women. But the outcome seemed good. Jia Yi wasn't angry, nor did she object. This was a very promising start. This meant I could now fully pursue the path of a goddess conqueror and truly expand my harem. In his excitement, Jiang Wei took advantage of the dazed woman in his arms and launched a sudden surprise attack. The next morning, I woke up early and quietly closed the bedroom door. In the dining room, Sister Bai Ji had already prepared breakfast and was waiting for them. Married women truly have this charm, gentle, attentive, and experts at taking care of others. With Sister Bai Ji joining us, saved a huge amount of time making breakfast. "Where is my sister?" Xiao Yao tilted her head and asked curiously. Hee hee, your sister went to bed late last night, so she hasn't woken up yet. She needs a bit more rest right now. Just leave some breakfast for her. Xiao Yao nodded obediently. She understood immediately what Jiang Wei meant and asked no further questions. After the meal and giving them some simple instructions, I headed out. Since everything was out in the open, I planned to bring the two best friends from Building 6 over. Being apart for too long would only strain our relationship. Being close makes visiting each other at night so much more convenient. Arriving downstairs, I activated my psychic sense as usual and did a casual scan. I keenly sensed that the apartment complex was a bit unusual today. I didn't notice yesterday because I came back late, but looking closely today, the number of zombies has clearly increased, significantly compared to yesterday. In the entire complex, there were at least 500 to 600 zombies lurking around, and most importantly, among that crowd, there were over 10 level 1 evolved zombies. Something is wrong. I put off going to Building 6, went down to the garage, picked a random car, and started driving around the complex. Using telekinesis to control a fruit knife, I created a defensive wall around me, slaying any zombie that dared to get close. Even the level 1 zombies were no exception. Maintaining my psychic scan, I quickly discovered the source of the problem. The main road that was fine last night had now been brutally destroyed. Opposite the apartment complex, on the road leading to the bus and subway station, hordes of zombies were flocking in, shuffling towards my apartment complex. At a glance, the endless stream of zombies seemed to have no end. The sheer number was so overwhelming, even a level 2 awakened like me felt a cold shiver down my spine. If I tried to drive through them, I'd probably be surrounded and torn apart before going 10 meters. Such a gruesome death was a distinct possibility. A bad premonition suddenly rose in my heart. This is bad. The subway station has completely fallen. It was a stroke of luck. Jiang Wei was lucky after all. Because of the impending disaster at the subway station, Jiang Wei had quickly brought Mimi and Chen Ying back to his home. Right now, 5 women were gathered together. Elder sister Jia Yi wore a black dress, looking incredibly noble and elegant. Little Xiao Yao wore a pastel pink outfit, looking adorable and lively. Then there was the beauty Bai Ji, who despite her modest housewife attire, had a seductive figure that captured every gaze. Add to that Cheng Ying, the widowed woman in a sexy office uniform, and Da Mi Mi's incredibly long legs. In a flash, Jiang Wei sitting at the head was left in a daze. There were just too many beauties to take in. 5 beauties sitting together, each a goddess scoring over 95. Impossible to say who was better. They were all simply perfect in their own way. And now, my hard work from last night started to pay off. Clearly, before they returned, Jia Yi had already spoken to her younger sister. So even though these 5 women had just met, there was no distance between them at all. Everyone knows that topics of conversation among women are always vastly more numerous than when they are with men. Far, far more. When women gather, they can chat about everything from cosmetics and shoes to handbags. But when they're with a man, only the naughty things remain. Quickly, the 5 women became close, and the atmosphere was very lively. Moreover, they directly shifted their focus, not even bothering to eat their meal. I was the only one left, sitting all alone at the dining table, looking quite lonely. It turns out I'm the third wheel here. Just then a pair of chopsticks placed some food into my bowl, along with a sweet, warm smile like a ray of light. Brother-in-law, have a piece of pickled cucumber. Xiao Yao, you're so kind. I knew someone would remember their brother-in-law. Looking at the cucumber the little girl gave him, Jiang Wei's heart felt incredibly warm. Beyond touched. Haha, it truly wasn't in vain to cherish this girl. Don't worry, your brother-in-law will reward you well. I was about to pull her close for a little affection, but in the next second, Xiao Yao, come here quickly. Try on this pink nightgown from Sister Xiao Ying. Hearing her sister's call, the little girl dashed away instantly without even looking back. Jiang Wei's arm was left frozen in mid-air. At that moment, I felt like a total fool, eating the cucumber while my heart felt so cold. Jiang Wei had originally planned to go for a walk after the afternoon meal to see if there was a better place to move to. But before he could set off, an expected event completely overturned my plans. Jia Yi was finally about to awaken her powers. Right at this moment, while Jiang Wei was preparing to go out, he suddenly heard the system notification. Congratulations, host. The favorability of goddess Chen Jiayi has reached 100. Ability awakening in progress. Jiayi is about to awaken. I hurriedly scooped up Jiayi's burning body and returned to my room. This woman seemed to have sensed it beforehand, but to avoid worrying me, she had been enduring it with a furrowed brow. No wonder when I was about to leave earlier, she remained silent the entire time. Brother-in-law, is my sister okay? Outside Jiang Wei's room, encountering this for the first time, Xiao Yao was extremely worried. Beside her sister, Cheng Ying and the other women also wore expressions of deep concern. Rest assured, your sister is about to awaken her powers. For her, this is a very good thing, because Jia Yi is the first woman by my side to awaken. To guard against any accidents, Jiang Wei decided to personally stay and watch over her. I also told the other women to stay in the living room to avoid any unforeseen complications. Back at the bedside, Jia Yi sat on the edge of the bed with a tense face, looking a bit flustered and unsure of what to do. Her face flushed deep red, and her body grew even hotter. Tiny beads of sweat covered her forehead. Jiang Wei smiled gently, lightly placing his hand on her shoulder. Trust me, it will be okay. Yes, I trust you. The smile of the man before her gave her a huge source of encouragement. For easier observation, Jiang Wei had Jia Yi lie down on the bed, and then I activated my psychic sense. Under psychic observation, I could clearly see Jia Yi's entire body filled with fire-red energy particles. At this moment, those energy particles seemed to receive a call, constantly gathering and heading upwards. Eventually, they were all completely absorbed by the glowing red mass. Deep within Jia Yi's mind, as more and more energy particles were absorbed, strangely, the light mass didn't expand. Instead, it kept shrinking, as if it were condensing into an essence, until a blinding and scorching flash of light erupted. Jiang Wei instinctively shut his eyes tight. Jia Yi, lying on the bed, felt her entire body being enveloped in flame, and she couldn't help but cry out. With that scream, an invisible crimson heatwave swept through the room. Luckily, Jiang Wei had maintained his black hole space, so the heatwave was absorbed before it could spread. When I opened my eyes again, Jia Yi's body on the bed was glowing red, as if currents of fire were surging within her. Her exquisite face was furrowed in a deep frown, as if she were enduring immense pain. The next second, she directly wrapped her arms around Jiang Wei's neck. Congratulations, host. Goddess Chen Jia Yi has successfully awakened the fire-type ability, Phoenix Divine Fire. In the living room, Cheng Ying and the other women were still waiting anxiously, but as they waited, a series of sounds suddenly rang out. The soundproofing in this room was truly lackluster. The first to realize what was happening were Bai Ji and Da Mi Mi. Being women who had been married, their reaction time was naturally faster. The two of them shared a look, and then quietly lowered their heads. Weren't they supposed to be awakening her powers? Why is there suddenly all this singing? Xiao Yao pouted her lips, with an angry face. That bad man is bullying my sister again. The four women looked at each other, embarrassment clearly visible on all their faces. Not until 6 full hours later, long after night had fallen, and the food had been reheated several times, did that man walk out with a satisfied smile. Has everyone eaten yet? At that, the four women sitting at the table all shot me looks full of resentment. Their meaning was perfectly clear without saying a word. Luckily, Jiang Wei's skin was thicker than a city wall. He didn't mind at all and just sat down. Seeing the table filled with nourishing dishes, Bai Jie, you're truly the only one who understands me. I gave Sister Bai Jie a thumbs up in appreciation. After dinner, once Jia Yi was fully alert again, another system chime rang out. Ding! Detected that the favorability of Goddess Chen Jia Yi toward the host has reached 100. The Goddess bond has been updated as follows. 1. From today on, Goddess Chen Jia Yi will be completely loyal to the host, never to betray you. 2. Ability sharing and support. The host can share the abilities awakened by the goddess and receive ability boosts from her. 3. Virus immunity. After awakening, the goddess will automatically gain virus immunity, just like the host. Immunity level can exceed current ability by 1 rank. 4. Under the goddess bond, host and goddess Chen Jia Yi can engage in barrier-free spiritual communication. Your synergy has reached a perfect level of 100. Sitting on the sofa, Jiang Wei couldn't stop grinning. I didn't expect that reaching 100 favorability would come with such massive benefits. It seems that to boost my own strength, I need to speed up a progress with the other goddesses. While I was deep in thought, a woman's arms wrapped around me from behind. Looking back, it was Jia Yi. She truly was different after her awakening. Her recovery speed had clearly been significantly enhanced. Hee, are you fully recovered? Seeing that he was about to get frisky again, Jia Yi quickly stopped him. Haha, I'm just teasing you. Jiang Wei held Jia Yi on the sofa, and before I could speak, Jia Yi asked first, What's on your mind, darling? You look like you're troubled by something. Jia Yi realized that after her awakening, it felt like an invisible thread had formed between her and this man. She could vaguely sense that he was currently wrestling with some concerns. Honestly, Jiang Wei didn't need to say much. An awakened like Jia Yi would probably notice it herself by tomorrow morning. So I frankly told her about the zombie situation downstairs and shared my worries. What I didn't expect was that a problem I hadn't solved myself was suddenly cleared up by a single sentence from this woman, opening up a new path. I think you should ask Sister Cheng Ying about finding a new location. Seeing Jiang Wei's confused look, Jia Yi reached out her slender finger and lightly tapped my forehead as a reminder. Did you forget that before she started live streaming, Sister Cheng Ying was actually a real estate agent? Truly a sentence that woke me from a dream. Professional matters should be left to the professionals. Cheng Ying, that talented and beautiful woman, was indeed in real estate before becoming an internet celebrity. Finding a place to relocate, shouldn't I just go directly to Cheng Ying, expert in housing and land? Besides, there's Da Mimi, the top star of China, a true wealthy mogul with massive assets. She surely owns real estate all across the country. Any one of her properties would suffice as a safe haven. Jiang Wei had truly been so busy he became muddled. How could he have overlooked such a vital point? Quickly, all six gathered together, and the best friends Cheng Ying and Da Mimi jointly proposed an ideal location to move to. Yulong Island, where those formerly arrogant neighbor sisters now knelt and begged for my protection, willingly offering their first times to me. And not just them, even cold, seductive female CEOs, or internet goddesses with tens of millions of fans, were all eager to belong to me. According to Cheng Ying and Da Mimi, Yulong Island is a tourist spot located between Shanghai City and the neighboring city. It's in the outskirts, surrounded by water on three sides with the Yulong Mountains behind. The island has only one large bridge leading out, and importantly, since it was recently developed, the population density is much lower than in the city center. That means fewer infected zombies, and a relatively safer environment overall. This kind of information is usually only known to the wealthy elite. This place perfectly meets my criteria for both comfort and safety. No more time to lose. Early the next morning, Jiang Wei packed everything into his storage space, and then I headed to the parking lot with my women. With a forceful wave of his arm, Jiang Wei summoned the system reward from his space, Doomsday War Chariot, goddess number. This vehicle needs little introduction. It's a specially crafted beast. From firepower to horsepower, everything was fully loaded. The chariot roared forward, crushing thousands of zombies in its path. We thought the trip to Yulong Island would be smooth sailing, but unexpectedly, as we passed a crossroads, trouble struck as they encountered a roadblock. You people in that vehicle, listen up. You are now completely surrounded by us. Get out and surrender immediately. Jiang Wei thought with a look of annoyance. Where did this idiot come from? Right in front of the goddess mobile fortress stood a lone blonde-haired man right in the middle of the road. He even held out a hand, pointing arrogantly at the vehicle. Jiang Wei couldn't help but laugh at the sight. Hey buddy, you really are brave. You dare to block a heavy truck like this all by yourself. During the journey so far, it's not like I haven't encountered people trying to block the way. With such a massive and grand mobile home that also packs incredible performance, those who greedily want to seize it are certainly not few in number. The zombies go without saying. But beyond carjackers, the number of survivors is also quite large. Most of them just stand by the roadside waving for a ride. The kind of person who dares to stand right in the middle of the road like this. It is truly the first time I have seen such a thing. He used his telepathic perception to sweep through the area. Only then did he discover that on the second floor of the shops on both sides of the road, dozens of survivors were already aiming their guns, pointing them directly at his RV. It seems this is what that blonde guy is relying on. But through his telepathic perception, he realized that, among these people, there wasn't a single awakened ability user. Even this blonde guy was just an ordinary person. Jiang Wei smiled slightly. Who gave you the guts to block my path? If I don't run this blonde guy over, then I would truly be doing an injustice to my heavy-duty RV. So he immediately gave an order. Shao Ai. Ram right through him for me. Gao Chang on the opposite side was still, casually waiting for the vehicle to come to a complete stop. He thought it would be just like previous times. As soon as the owner stepped out, my men would swarm out and surround them. This vehicle will be mine, just thinking about it. Gao Chang's mood became extremely excited. He was about to stretch comfortably, when in the next second his eyes widened as he saw. The vehicle didn't slow down at all but sped straight toward him. Looking at this momentum, it was clear they wanted to kill him. Damn it! Gao Chang instinctively lunged to the side. The RV roared past like a whirlwind, sending a cold shiver down his spine. If he hadn't dodged in time, he would have been paralyzed at least. He scrambled up in anger, his face pale. His lackeys also rushed over. Fire! Shoot him dead for me. Upon the command, the lackeys hurriedly pulled their triggers. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets rained down on the vehicle. But in the next second, they were all stunned. Boss, this vehicle is bulletproof. The bullets couldn't penetrate, and Gao Chang was completely dumbfounded. And at this moment, Inside the vehicle, I was holding and comforting Jiadao. As for everything happening outside, I could see it all clearly through the surrounding surveillance monitors. Even though the vehicle was blocked by obstacles ahead, I didn't feel a hint of panic, facing the worried looks of the women. I, on the contrary, comforted them. Rest assured, it's fine, I'll step out and tell them to clear the way. Setting Jiadao aside, I opened the car door and was just about to step down, when Jiayi beside me suddenly reached out to hold me. I'm coming with you. I didn't refuse at all. He wrapped his arm around her slender waist and they stepped out together. This girl has awakened her ability and needs a bit of training. Otherwise, if something happens later, it won't be good. It's perfect that we can have some real combat now. After getting out of the car, he saw Gao Chang crawling up from the ground. Seeing me approach, this guy was secretly smug in his heart. If you had stayed hidden in that bulletproof car, I couldn't have done anything, but you dared to step out. And don't blame me for being ruthless. He was just about to order his lackeys to fire, when at this time the lackey beside him hurriedly said, "Brother Chang, wait. Look at that woman over there. Doesn't she fit Master Yu's standards perfectly?" Hearing his lackey's reminder, Gao Chang only then noticed. Behind the young man who just got out, there was a woman accompanying him. The moment he saw her, Gao Chang's eyes immediately widened. So beautiful. If she were an ordinary woman, whatever. But for someone this beautiful, wouldn't it be a waste to kill her? And most importantly, this woman definitely meets Master Yu's requirements. Master Yu is the head of a nearby martial arts hall. Before the apocalypse, he specialized in scams to recruit students. He used to just sit around doing nothing all day. Who would have thought that after the end came? Suddenly awakened in miraculous power. He can discharge lightning. With just a casual strike, he can take down a zombie monster. It can be said to be incredibly terrifying. Gao Chang is able to run rampant here, because he has Master Yu backing him up. And the only requirement of this old Yu is that he must have a woman to serve him every day. Lately, since no one has been passing this way, Gao Chang couldn't find any woman who caught his eye. Yesterday, he even had to offer up his own wife. A true man must know when to yield and when to stand tall. In this apocalypse, survival is the most important thing. Now that this woman is here, then we definitely shouldn't open fire. He waved his hand, ordering his lackeys to surround him with knives and clubs. Boys, mince that man for me, but keep the woman. He didn't know that I had no intention of running away either. Seeing the aggressive crowd approaching, I quietly retreated behind Jiayi. Jiayi, don't be afraid. I am right here with you. These people don't have any special abilities. It's a good chance for Jiayi to practice a bit. Feeling her man right beside her, Jiayi didn't feel any fear at all. His powerful aura completely enveloped her. Be good, sense the source of energy in your body, then focus it all into your hands. Jiang Wei whispered softly in her ear. My spatial black hole was already open and ready. This time was mainly to let Jiayi adapt to the feeling of real combat. Listening to Jiang Wei's instructions, Jiayi hurriedly did as I told her. A moment later, Jiayi's hands flared with fire, and the flames grew even larger. Hubby, I'm about to lose control of it. Jiayi was so anxious that her hands shook violently. Just in time, I saw the crowd opposite had surrounded us and moved closer. I immediately shouted, aim straight at them and throw it. Almost as a natural reflex, the fireball in Jiayi's hands shot outward. It was a fireball too, but compared to Wang Ye's technique from before, the completely different thing was, when Jiayi's fireball was thrown, it even carried the shrill cry of a phoenix. Gao Chang thought Jiang Wei had already surrendered. The smugness at the corners of his mouth could not be hidden. He was debating whether to enjoy her himself first, this top-tier woman or not, before presenting her to Master Yu. But in the next second, a fireball the size of a head lunged straight at him, exploding brilliantly right in front of him. Damn it! Gao Chang instinctively dove to the side again. Boom. A world-shaking explosion rang out. The lackeys who were aggressive just moments ago were immediately dazed by the sudden explosion. A powerful shockwave swept across the entire area. Jiang Wei and Jiayi were unharmed, protected by the spatial black hole. But those lackeys were in a miserable state. Those on the outer edge were a bit better off. They were only thrown far away. Those in the middle were finished. At best, they were severely injured. At worst, they lost their lives. In the worst cases, they died instantly with their bodies blown apart. Witnessing this scene, Jiayi was also astonished by her own power. Is this my doing? She couldn't believe it and stared blankly at her hands. It was unbelievable that she could unleash such a horrific attack. And she wasn't the only one who couldn't believe it. Inside the RV behind them, Cheng Ying and the other women watched through the screens. They saw everything crystal clear. It turns out Jiayi is this powerful. They never would have expected it in a million years. The weak girl they usually chatted with actually possessed such terrifying power. No way, while we were sitting idle, you quietly surpassed us. Very quickly, the smart women understood. Jia Yi must have awakened her ability. This won't do. Tonight, I definitely have to ask Zhang Wei to help me too. To awaken an ability. If you have power in your hands, what the hell is there to fear? After witnessing that horrific ability with their own eyes, which woman here wouldn't be tempted? These girls started secretly calculating in their minds, thinking about which seductive outfit to wear tonight. Never mind them. Even her own sister Jia Dao was stunned. Is my sister really that powerful? Doesn't that mean I become a burden to her? Looking at her brother-in-law embracing her sister over there, this little girl made a silent resolution in her heart. After all, her brother-in-law really likes to play with Jia Dao's long legs. Zhang Wei, of course, couldn't know. The rich thoughts flowing through the minds of the women behind him. He wasn't surprised at all, because this was the Phoenix Divine Fire and SS rank ability. Its power was naturally no joke. It wasn't some trash flame like that guy Wang Ye could compare to. But if one considered it calmly, it was also because Gao Chang's group was unprepared. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caused such horrific damage. Jia Yi didn't think that far ahead. She was both moved and overjoyed. She tightly embraced the man behind her. Thank you, hubby. She knew that she finally had hope. To be able to protect her sister with her own hands. In her excitement, she kept squirming in my arms, letting me feel her vast, warm heart. I only found this heart to be truly exquisite. Suddenly, a mischievous fire rose in my heart. It's here. It's here. Episode 15 of Doomsday Cow Thief is here. Gao Chang lay on the ground, his head spinning from the explosion. Am I still alive? Yes, that's right, you're still alive. But you're about to die. Accompanying those words was a cold, sharp blade. The cold draft gave him goosebumps on his neck. He fell to his knees before Zhang Wei. You dare block my path? You've got some nerve. As he spoke, Zhang Wei slightly shifted his wrist, intending to finish him. However, at this moment, Gao Chang hurriedly begged. It was all Master Yu's idea. We were all forced by him. Better someone else dies than me when facing death. Gao Chang no longer cared about any sense of loyalty. He spilled everything like pouring beans, telling every detail about Master Yu. After hearing Gao Chang's story, Zhang Wei's expression became very strange. Master Yu, huh? Sounds too much like a certain iron-eyed literary man in his memories. Seeing that Zhang Wei seemed concerned, Gao Chang thought his trick had worked. How about I send someone to call him here? I didn't object at all. I also want to see who this Master Yu really is, to dare ruin the reputation of a Tai Chi Grandmaster like that. While the lackey ran into the residential area to call him, Zhang Wei also took the opportunity to ask about the situation at Westgate. This place is the closest area. To the outskirts outside Westgate. If there's any news, this place will surely catch it first. The change is that the zombie monsters are increasing in number. A few have even made it all the way here. Through Gao Chang's words, it was revealed. The reason they placed so many obstacles here. On one hand, it was to collect tolls. On the other hand, it was also to prevent zombies from the outskirts from swarming in. Of course, Zhang Wei understood perfectly. Those zombies don't just come from outside the city, but some also overflow from the subway stations. Just as Zhang Wei was lost in thought, from the distant residential area, an old man in martial arts attire stepped out. His appearance had a bit of a sage-like air, but looking closely, his face was incredibly sleazy. His laugh made him look withered like a dried chrysanthemum. Who just called this old man here? Yu Baoguo narrowed his eyes slightly. He still hadn't noticed the abnormality at the scene. But as soon as Zhang Wei saw him, his eyes widened. Good. Very good. Indeed, someone tired of living dares to impersonate my Master Ma. Truly someone seeking their own death. Take a punch from me. Yu Baoguo kept his hands behind his back, still trying to maintain the majestic air of a Grand Master. But in the next second, he saw a fist as large as a sandbag, flying straight into his right eye. You brat, you have no martial ethics, daring to ambush me like this, attacking an old man over 60 like me as soon as you arrive. I was too disdainful even to dodge. The sage like Master Yu was now clutching his eye in pain. Tears were streaming down uncontrollably. One could tell just by looking. My attack just now, combined with spatial displacement, had immense power. However, despite such pain, this old man stubbornly refused to utter a single sound. I was speechless. Does this parallel world have this kind of person too? Master Ma, your stubborn nature truly hasn't changed at all. Jia Yi stood beside him and couldn't help but ask, Hubby, do you know him? Why do I feel like you and him have some deep-seated grudge? Hearing the question from the woman in his arms, I felt a bit embarrassed. I didn't know how to answer her properly. Should I say, kids these days really have no self-respect? Fortunately, he reacted quickly. Haha, Jia. In this apocalyptic era, the things you need to be wary of aren't just zombie monsters, but also the survivors. Facing them, you must be doubly cautious. It's best to strike first to gain the upper hand. When he said these words, he didn't feel ashamed at all for ambushing a 60-year-old man. He was just telling the truth. Just think, in the novels he read before, how many protagonists had to be reincarnated because they were ambushed? These are all lessons learned through blood and pain. My righteous explanation left Jia lost in thought. Hubby indeed knows much more than me, and not just about that aspect either. The more she thought, her beautiful face suddenly flushed with shyness. For example, right now, Jia glanced down at the hands sneakily making mischief at her waist and spoke. The battle between you and me is naturally different. I chuckled. He shifted his gaze, looking toward old Yu, who was still lying stubbornly on the ground. System information appeared immediately. Ability user, Yu Baoguo. Ability, 5-link lightning bolt. Grade B, Tier 2 middle stage. Although he had guessed it from the start, but when he saw it with his own eyes, Zhang Wei couldn't help laughing. It turns out this old man really possesses a Grade B ability. By now, Master Yu had also grasped the situation. He pointed at Gao Chang on the ground and yelled, "He's slandering me! He's framing me! I already told them I don't like young girls. I only like widows!" Yet he dared to tarnish my reputation. My honor, goddammit! Yu Baoguo cursed loudly, while delivering several kicks to Gao Chang. Gao Chang only twitched a few times, then stopped breathing, deader than dead. Since the leader Gao Chang was dead, the remaining low-level lackeys, I didn't bother to pursue them, mainly because he had to continue his journey. The pile of obstacles ahead still needed someone to clear it. Since there was free labor available, why not use it? While those people were busy clearing the road, I asked about this old usability awakening process, knowing full well his small life was held firmly in my hands. This old man became incredibly honest. He answered everything asked. I'm not really sure either. Not long after the apocalypse began, one day I fought over food with a big guy. Got beaten up badly, and when I got home I just awakened. Zhang Wei was truly speechless. Perhaps this old man had accidentally triggered a tanking attribute. The road was quickly cleared. Before I left, this old man was quite sensible. He surrendered most of the supplies they had collected. Almost everything was brought out. He said it was an apology gift for me. With food delivered to my mouth, there was no reason not to take it, so I gathered it all. I planned to turn Yu Baoguo's place into a supply collection station for myself. In the future, I'll just stop by occasionally to harvest. I happily got in the car and continued the journey. The destination was still Jade Dragon Island, thanks to this RV. The chosen route consisted of less traveled streets. The rest of the way was smooth and blocking zombies were no concern. I let Jia handle all of them. Half an hour passed. I saw the silhouette of an island appearing in the distance. Finally arrived at Jade Dragon Island. It was exactly as Yang Mi and Cheng Ying described. Those two women certainly didn't lie. Both sides of the main road were bustling with shops. Among them were several large shopping malls. Even though everything had long been scavenged, it could still be seen that this place was extremely prosperous before the apocalypse. I had just finished the professional handover with Sister Bai. Feeling refreshed, I stepped out of the room. As Sister Bai's affection for me increased, Sister Bai, regarding these tasks, became increasingly skilled and proficient. Jade Dragon Island wasn't much further. At the end of this main street, we'd arrive. A large bridge appeared right before my eyes. The bridge wasn't very long, only a few dozen meters. Below the bridge was Jade Dragon Bay with sparkling waves. Looking from afar, on the golden strip of sand, island stood majestic and quiet, truly facing the vast sea, with its back against the green mountains. The scenery was incredibly beautiful, exactly like a legendary paradise, causing anyone who saw it to feel a deep yearning. Worth being a 5-star resort island before the apocalypse. No wonder even when it was planned as a villa area, only the ultra-wealthy could afford to buy it. The women in the car were all excited. Hubby, please get there a bit faster. The RV kept moving forward. The warm sea breeze blew across my face. I was busy playing with the long legs in my hands. My mood at this moment was extremely refreshed. However, very quickly after, joy of mine was completely ruined. The RV reached the middle of the bridge and suddenly had to stop. Not because I wanted to stop, but because right in front of the vehicle, there were about 5 or 6 people in security uniforms, wielding weapons and fighting a horde of zombies. The weapons of these guards were truly too crude. Not even a handgun. They didn't even have a decent knife. Their hands held only rusty iron bars, while the zombies numbered over 30. Under the surrounding attack of the zombie horde, these guards were clearly about to be unable to hold on much longer. "You girls wait in the car for me. Let me go down and check," after instructing the women. I opened the door and stepped out of the car, but as soon as my feet touched the ground, one of the security personnel over there shouted toward me in great concern, "Don't come over here. Run away quickly. There are nothing but zombie monsters here. It's here, it's here." Episode 16 of Doomsday Cow Thief is out. I smiled slightly, thinking this guard was quite interesting. He himself could barely keep his life, yet he still had the mind to worry about my safety, seeing me, still walking leisurely toward him as if nothing were wrong. The guard who just shouted the warning immediately panicked. "It's very dangerous here. Leave this place now." With just one slip, he was almost hit by a zombie. Even though he dodged that vicious blow in time, he was still in a very dire situation, surrounded by 5 or 6 zombies about to tear him apart. "Ha ha ha." Security guard Zhao Tieju cried out in his heart. "It's over." At the very moment he was falling into despair, the next second he saw the young man approaching. Suddenly unleash a teleportation move, yanking him out of a circle of bloodthirsty zombies. He hadn't even processed what just happened, when he saw more than 10 blades flying into the air, drawing a beautiful arc in the sky, and then piercing back and forth through the dense crowd of zombies. With his abilities as a former Special Forces soldier, he couldn't even see the trajectory of those blades clearly. The entire process took less than 30 short seconds. Everything was finished. The zombies that he and his comrades had risked their lives just to hold back. Now the zombie monsters had all collapsed completely. The zombies' heads rolled onto the ground one by one. Dead. Are they all dead? Zhao Tieju was stunned. Holy crap. So cool. With his limited vocabulary, this was the only word he could think of at this moment. Not only was he astonished, but the other guards also cried out in terror. "What on earth is that?" I thought our class leader. Lev Bu was already invincible in this world. Unexpectedly, there is someone even more powerful than him. Why do I feel he's even more formidable then? Our former Special Forces instructor, Thunder God. It's truly too horrific. What nonsense are you talking? Compared to him, Thunder God is just a small fry. Through just a few sentences, I understood the identities of this group of guards. They were all security for the Jade Dragon Island Resort Villa area, and they were all former Special Forces soldiers. Thinking back, it makes sense. As a top-tier luxury resort in Huaguo, how could it not have corresponding security measures? Zhao Tieju was the head of security for this villa area. I briefly checked the system information of those present, and noticed that only the burly Zhao Tieju was the one who had awakened an ability. Moreover, it was a physical enhancement type ability, focusing on extremely high defensive capabilities. No wonder, even though he only possessed a Tier 1 ability, he could still stubbornly hold his ground against a siege of over 30 zombies for so long. Keep in mind that among those fierce zombies, there was also the presence of one mutated zombie that had awakened a Tier 1 ability. And when asked about the reason this security group was here at this time, we were all kicked out by that young Master Wang. Zhao Tieju gave a simple, bitter smile. From their account, I learned that about 2 days before I arrived, young Master Wang, or rather Principal Wang, whom I well knew, had led a group of henchmen to seize and occupy this island, relying on the modern firearms they held. Along with the service of over 10 ability users under him, he had brazenly monopolized this entire resort island. It seems I arrived a little late this time, and currently, Principal Wang is vigorously purging the people remaining on the island, while frantically scavenging all supply reserves here. Judging by this stance, he is dreaming of becoming the emperor of this Jade Dragon Island. Zhao Tieju's security group was precisely those were the criminal investigators who had always despised Principal Wang's lot. Just for speaking out, they were kicked out. To be more precise, they were being hunted down. With no other choice, they were forced to go on the run. The other guards couldn't escape. Some had already perished, while others had surrendered. Every time Zhao Tieju and his men retold this story, everyone was consumed by a boiling rage. After all, their comrades had fallen right before their very eyes. That feeling is truly difficult to put into words, out of gratitude for me saving their lives. When I invited them to come along, Zhao Tieju's group all wanted to follow me as one. These men are all discharged Special Forces soldiers. If equipped with firearms, their combat prowess would surely be formidable. However, I certainly won't be handing them weapons right now. You can know a man's face, but never his heart. In the apocalypse, it's always better to be a bit cautious. Under the guidance of Zhao Tieju's group, my group quickly set foot on Yulong Island. Perhaps Zhao Tieju and the others didn't notice, but a cold smirk played across my lips. because within the range of my telekinesis, someone was staring intently in this direction with binoculars. The RV rolled along the island's roads. On both sides were nothing but luxury villas. As my telekinesis swept through, I could see quite a few survivors. But perhaps out of sheer terror of the zombies outside, no one dared to approach the RV. There are a total of 100 villas on Yulong Island. According to what Yang Mi said, the smaller the villa number, the better the infrastructure and geographical location will definitely be. Yang Mi's villa is number 95. Don't be fooled by the high number. Without a massive fortune, you could never even dream of owning it. Yang Mi thought we were heading to her villa 95, so she was overjoyed. But little did she know, the man holding her suddenly gave a mysterious smile and said, "We're going to villa number 1. Unit 1. Isn't that Wang Siming's villa? Could my husband be planning too?" Before Yang Mi could even process it, she saw the man, who was just holding her step out of the vehicle. "Everyone stay in the car, don't get out." Outside, upon hearing the order to guard my vehicle, guards like Zhao Qiezhu were all completely dazed. What's there to guard on an RV? And where exactly is Brother Jiang Wei going? On the rooftop of a building, not far from my car. A guy was stealthily observing the vehicle. His name is Jiang Cheng. Before the apocalypse hit, he was a subordinate of Principal Wang Sim. After the apocalypse began, he followed Principal Wang, escaping death by a hair to reach Yulong Island. Afterward, he was tasked guarding those who set foot on the island in a two-man team. As for the other one, he was busy enjoying himself with a woman by his side. This woman, before the end, was a cold female CEO with an income in the hundreds of millions. Now for just a pack of instant noodles, she's willing to serve all day long. Stop playing, get down and look, outsiders have landed on the island. No sooner had he spoken than the woman beside him suddenly let out a piercing scream. Zhang Shang instinctively went to check. It was then he discovered his fellow lookout had already had a knife plunged into his neck. What the hell? Zhang Shang backed away in a panic. He scrambled for his radio to call for backup, but in the next second, a young man appeared right before him with a smile. Most importantly, that young man was also holding a radio. Zhang Shang's voice was still constantly coming from inside that very radio. "Hey, are you looking for this?" The young man smiled leisurely, but in Zhang Shang's eyes it only sent a chill down his spine. It was exactly like the smile of a devil. He had never seen this youth before. How could he have appeared here? "Who are you? Weren't you just watching me with your binoculars? I've come all this way and yet you don't recognize me. You're the owner of that RV." Zhang Shang reached that conclusion in total horror. He clearly saw that RV standing still without moving a muscle. How could this boy get here so fast? And the fact that I am holding this radio means that the bodyguards in the surrounding villas are all already dead. Taking out that many guards in such a short time, even he couldn't possibly achieve that. Congratulations, you guessed right. Yes, the one who arrived was Jiang Wei. Once I've discovered someone stealthily stalking me, I definitely won't let them live. The reason is very simple. Stalking equals malice, and malice can threaten me and the safety of my women. The truth is, I wasn't wrong. These people truly intended to make a move against me. Luckily, I struck first. Anyone who dares to threaten the safety of those by my side is an enemy. And for enemies, I have only one decree. I grant you death. With those words, a flying dagger whistled through the air, aimed straight for Jiang Chang's head. However, what surprised me slightly was that this Jiang Chang guy could actually dodge it. Turns out he's also an ability user. I was a bit taken aback. I saw it very clearly. When my dagger flew before Jiang Chang's face, it was deflected ever so slightly. A pity you're only a Tier 1 ability user. Being able to withstand one strike from me is quite impressive already. I shook my head and flicked out another flying dagger. With a thud, Jiang Qiang collapsed. His only thought before death was, "Young Master Wang." Looking at Jiang Qiang's corpse on the ground, I didn't even bother with the woman standing nearby, paralyzed with fear. I tucked the radio away on my person. It'll surely come in handy later. Then, I looked toward a certain direction, where people were busily moving back and forth. It was incredibly lively. That is Villa number 1. If I'm moving to Yulong Island, then I must stay in the very best unit. Besides, even if I didn't act, Principal Wang's lot surely wouldn't leave me in peace. My women are all top-tier beauties. Sooner or later, they would have caught that Principal Wang's eye anyway. So since things are like this, it's better that I strike first. Better to be the hunter than the hunted. Principal Wang, huh? I've heard of your reputation for quite some time now. I wonder if that 10 million yen Japanese girlfriend he was with before the end is still alive. Updated. It's updated. Part 17 of Apocalypse. The scoundrel has been updated. Right now, inside Villa Number 1, a man was scattering instant noodles everywhere. This person is young Master Wong. For him, a group of women were crawling on the floor, calling him young Master Wong while picking up noodle strands with their mouths. Then again, young Master Wong was truly lucky. On the day the apocalypse broke out, he was busy indulging himself at a high-end club, always flanked by 6 bodyguards. Once he knew the apocalypse had started, he ordered his guards to seal off the entire club and kick everyone else out. In young Master Wong's own words, "I don't give a damn if others live or die. As long as I don't die, that's enough." If it weren't for the fact that all the supply around that club had been exhausted by them, young Master Wong could have stayed there reveling until his dying breath. Later, because there really was no other way, young Master Wong remembered he had a villa, just like this on Yulong Island. So, with a promise of tripling their salaries, he boosted the guards' morale. And just 2 days ago, they successfully escorted him here. Of course, accompanying him in this migration were several ex-girlfriends who were internet celebrities, some girls from the club, and even that Japanese girlfriend. He just spent 10 million yuan to win over right before the apocalypse. If it weren't for that, he wouldn't have had so many women to toy with to his heart's content. Moreover, his bodyguards were all retired special forces with incredibly strong capabilities. Their equipment was also extremely elite. 5 or 6 of them had even awakened special abilities. His captain of the ability user guard team, Leng Feng, had even broken through to Tier 2. This was the capital that allowed him to live luxuriously, just like before the apocalypse, since safety was fully guaranteed. As for the issue of necessities, it was even simpler. Just kick out all the residents of the Yulong Island resort and seize their supplies, job done. The apocalypse is inherently that cruel. No one will give you food or clothes out of pity. Everything must be taken through struggle to be possessed. Young Master Wang flattered himself thinking he understood the apocalypse's nature. He also frequently used these very words to intimidate his internet celebrity ex-girlfriends. These girls also understood very well in their hearts that once they left young Master Wang, they wouldn't be able to survive. Now, whenever they heard praise for young Master Wang, they would quickly flatter him. Young Master Wang is so amazing. Hearing the flattery of his ex-lovers, young Master Wang was elated and burst into a loud laugh. Overly excited, he ripped open a box of instant noodles and scattered them everywhere. Hearing the chaotic sounds echoing from within, the 2 guards standing watch at the door let out a soft sigh. Their eyes were filled with profound weariness, because these 2 guards are no strangers. It's Leng Feng, the captain of young Master Wang's guard team, and the other is Vice Captain Song Yan. Contrary to Captain Leng Feng's taciturn nature, Vice Captain Song Yan was much more lively. "Captain, how much longer do we have to keep going on like this?" As the strongest Tier 2 ability user in the team, Leng Feng naturally understood Song Yan's meaning. Ever since the apocalypse arrived, they had to follow young Master Wang's orders, doing no small number of things against their conscience. That's not even counting the raids for supplies. Though they didn't want to get their hands dirty, out of professional ethics toward their employer, they were still compelled to carry them out. These past few days, they've lived in relentless torment, but there was nothing to be done. After all, so many brothers still needed to eat and drink. However, Leng Feng understood that Song Yan's point wasn't just about those reasons. It was also about the anxiety for the future of all these guard brothers, following a useless man, who only cares about women like young Master Wang. They absolutely could not see any hope of survival in the future. Brother Feng, instead of continuing to obey young Master Wang, how about we strike out and build something on our own? It's the apocalypse now anyway. Those salaries don't mean a thing anymore. He can't use money to bind us any longer. Leng Feng was somewhat swayed. These days, young Master Wang only cared about his own pleasure, and completely ignored whether the guards lived or died. Understand that when the apocalypse first hit, the entire guard team had over 100 men. Now some have mutated, some are dead, and others are covered in wounds. On top of that, under young Master Wang's previous autocratic demands, a bloody clash occurred with the villa area's security team. By now, fewer than 20 men remained. If things continue like this, I fear none of the brothers will make it out alive. Leng Feng didn't mind dying himself, but he couldn't just watch his brothers die a tragic death. Just as he was hesitating, suddenly chaotic shouting erupted from outside, followed by a series of sharp, deafening gunshots. He stepped out to take a look, and saw a pitch-black RV ramming straight into the main gate of their Villa Number 1. Bullets rained down on the RV, but they were instantly deflected away. It was completely impenetrable. With the sharp eyes of a Special Forces soldier, he knew all too well that this was a bulletproof armored vehicle. Crash! After a powerful impact, the gate of Villa Number 1 was sent flying. As the dust settled, a young man stepped out of the vehicle. "Hey, Is Principal Wang in? I've come to collect a debt from him. Seeing the young man step down from the car, Lang Feng and Song Yan, who had just rushed out, looked guarded. Lang Feng was about to speak and inquire when he noticed a group of people behind the youth. Leading them was his old acquaintance, Zhao Tiaju. Zhao Tiaju, it's you guys. Len Feng, step aside. We're not here for you. We're here to find Wang Siming. It's his orders that caused my brothers to die so tragically. While the hulking men like Zhao Tiaju spoke, they were secretly terrified by Brother Zhang Wei's fearsome strength. Just a moment ago, after I had dealt with the guards at the island's entrance, I directly led Zhao Tiaju and the others to storm straight into Villa Number 1. Guards watching the gate earlier had already been cleared out by them. Being former special forces themselves, ambushing and taking down a few guards was child's play. Even with those ability users, Zhang Wei didn't even need them to lift a finger. With just a flying dagger, he rendered them unable to move. His speed was so incredible that they couldn't help but exclaim, Brother Zhang Wei was truly a god. All right, hurry up and call your young master Wang out here. Seeing that it was almost dark, I didn't want to waste any more time. Hearing this, Lang Feng and Song Yan glanced at each other. Knowing they had just escaped a disaster, they breathed a sigh of relief but couldn't help feeling awkward. I slightly furrowed my brows. I swept through with my telekinesis once. Tisk tisk. Even though before arriving, I had anticipated seeing some blushing scenes, actually witnessing it still made me unable to help but comment. Young Master Wang, you certainly know how to enjoy yourself. Is the soundproofing of Villa Number 1 really just a bit too good? With gunshots blasting like that, you still haven't heard a thing. You truly have some nerve. Aren't you afraid of death? Seeing the situation, I ordered Tiju to immediately lead his men inside. Only a short while later, amidst frantic screams, pairs of men and women were dragged out one by one, and the one leading the pack was none other than our very own young Master Wang. As he was being dragged out, young Master Wang kept shouting curses relentlessly. Motherfucker, who the hell are you guys? Who gave you permission to come in here? Where are all my bodyguards? Lang Feng, you useless piece of trash, why aren't you over here protecting me? Even standing from a distance, I clearly hear young Master Wang's bellows. To me, it was no big deal, but Lang Feng's guard team looked incredibly ashamed. Remember that earlier, when my knife was at their throats? These men hadn't even blinked. Yet now, they all looked utterly pathetic, especially Lang Feng, a powerful Tier 2 ability user. Doesn't a strong man need even a shred of dignity? Tiju, standing behind, really couldn't take it any longer and delivered a thunderous kick to young Master Wang's back. It sent him sprawling, face-planting into the floor. Only then did young Master Wang finally shut his mouth for a moment. I sat on the chair, looking down at young Master Wang as he knelt at my feet. This was the first time I'd seen young Master Wang in person. Before, I'd only seen him in the online tabloids, like rumors of him dating this or that internet celebrity, or spending $2 million just to buy his cat an expensive collar. Just news like that. Not to mention the fact that I'm now witnessing his miserable state. Tisk tisk. Isn't this the famous young Master Wang? Only a few days since we last met and you already look this haggard. A devilish smirk curled at the corner of my mouth. You dog. Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am to dare treat me like this? I'll kill your whole family. Seeing the dangerous smile on my face, young Master Wang immediately felt a massive blow to his pride, and so he began to scream and curse frantically once more. However, in the very next second, a black gun barrel was pressed tightly against young Master Wang's head. Quite the fierce one, aren't you? I didn't quite catch that. Why don't you say it again if you're so brave? With the gun pressed against his forehead, young Master Wang didn't dare utter another syllable. His chubby face instantly drained of all color. He could only stammer while trembling violently. You can't kill me. My father is the richest man in China. How about this? I'll give you 100 million yuan. Even a billion. I'll give you as much as you want. Just spare my life. Impatiently, I picked at my ear. I glanced around at the people who had just been dragged out. 7 women and 1 man, truly living it up. The girls go without saying. Everyone knows. Young Master Wang only likes internet celebrities. Their bodies were covered in the products of plastic surgery and filters, exuding a fake and unnatural aura. But when I saw that other man, my eyes lit up. Lin Go? Lin Go didn't look much better than young Master Wang at this moment. Though his physique was decent, likely a top choice for wealthy ladies looking for a thrill. Hearing me call his name, Lin Go could only raise his head sheepishly with a miserable face. He looked as terrified as a hollow corpse. Thinking of his status before the apocalypse, I figured Yang Mi must know him. They were in the same industry, after all. But witnessing their pathetic state now, I thought for a moment and then let it go. Truly an eyesore. It would be a disaster if this affected Yang Mi's mood to serve me tonight. The costs would outweigh the benefits. Since it's like this, I shouldn't waste any more time toying with them. Another update. Apocalypse. The scoundrel updated again. Young Master Wang, do you have any last words? Because now it's time for me to collect the debt for the men you sent to hunt me down on the island. I softly clicked the safety off the gun. Young Master Wang was scared out of his wits and shook his head frantically. No. You can't kill me. If only you don't kill me. Young Master Wang's mind raced at full throttle to find a way to escape. I'll give you this villa number 1. Once I kill you, this place will be mine anyway. I coldly shook my head. Then I'll give you all these internet celebrity ex-girlfriends. They have great skills, guaranteed to satisfy you. I continued to shake my head. No, once you're dead, they will be mine as well. Seeing that I was about to pull the trigger, young Master Wang suddenly shrieked in terror. Wait, I'll trade Zhu Mingmei Ba to you. I only beg for a chance to live. My finger poised on the trigger suddenly stopped. Zhu Mingmei Ba, the Japanese girl you spent 10 million yuan on, just to bring home? Regarding this Principal Wang, even before the apocalypse broke out, that 10 million yuan acquisition, his Japanese girlfriend, I had heard of her for a long time. The moment I heard the name Zhu Mingmei Ba, in my mind, the image of a young girl with short, fresh hair immediately appeared. That appearance, both pure and adorable, left an incredibly deep impression. Seeing that I seemed swayed, Principal Wang hurriedly let out a sigh of relief. The feeling of escaping death's grasp instantly flooded his mind. How lucky, truly lucky. Turns out there's still something that can make this guy hesitate. Even if it's his own girlfriend, it doesn't matter. Women are just like clothes. If you lose one set, you can get another. The most important thing is still this little life of mine. Rest assured, my girlfriend is still untouched. Fearing the young man before him would feel jealousy and execute him in a fit of rage, Principal Wang quickly added another sentence, but little did he know. You dare lie to me? I naturally didn't believe it. With all of Principal Wang's twisted preferences, could he really have restrained himself from touching her? The moment I knew Principal Wang was here, I had already prepared myself for that girl to no longer be pure. Now he dares to tell me she's still a virgin? Does he take me for a fool? It's true. It's the truth. My father wouldn't allow me to touch her. Our Wang family was planning to invest in real estate in England. Being together was actually just for business, for promotional purposes, to preserve his wretched life. Principal Wang frantically spilled shocking secrets. Besides, our country's ironclad laws didn't forbid. After Principal Wang's reminder, it was then that I suddenly recalled. Zhu Mingmei Ba is likely only 18 years old this year. To be more precise, she just turned 18 after the apocalypse broke out. Tisk tisk. I marveled secretly in my heart. Isn't this just perfect timing? Young Master Wang, if the apocalypse hadn't hit, then I'd say this life of yours would have more and more to look forward to. Even though he could hear the mockery in my words, with a gun pressed to his head, young Master Wang didn't dare utter another word. He just wanted to keep this man happy for now. Perhaps he'd be spared. Once he survived this disaster, he would surely bring people back to level this place, to wash away all this humiliation. Indeed, his intuition was not wrong. After hearing those words, the man in front holstered his gun with satisfaction. Rest easy, since you've spoken so sincerely, that I shall be merciful and spare your life. Hearing this, Wang Xiao was overjoyed. Ha ha ha. Lest this brat is still way too naive. Does he not know that in the apocalypse, one must be ruthless and decisive? Doesn't this saint realize you have to pull weeds out by the roots? Just you wait for this, young master. I will definitely return for my revenge. Wang Xiao hid his madness deep within, and kept the hatred buried in his heart while on his face. He pretended to be incredibly grateful, thanking me. Thank you, sir, please don't worry. Once I get back, I'll have my father send plenty of supplies, to thank you for saving my life. I gave a squinty-eyed smile, silently watching Wang Xiao's brilliant performance. Wang Xiao. With acting skills like those, if you don't win an Oscar, it would be such a shame if Yang Mi were here. She would definitely understand immediately that this man is about to dig a hole for someone again. But Tai Zhu, unaware of the plan, became frantic. Brother Zhang Wei, you can't do this. He ordered the killing of my brothers. I promised to avenge them. Wang Xiao was also a cunning one. Seeing the large men behind getting angry, he immediately blurted out, "Can I go now?" I kept smiling with my eyes narrowed. A smile just like the big bad wolf playing grandma. Of course you can. I, Zhang Wei, am a man of my word. I'll let you go this time. But next time, I can't guarantee anything. Having received my assurance, Wang Xiao breathed a long sigh of relief. He didn't care at all about my warning. Next time? If there is a next time, you just wait to die. Sooner or later, I will kill you, brat. Damn it. Wang Xiao thought viciously as he immediately stepped forward. Concerned only with his own escape, he didn't even glance back at his close friend Lin Go. Wang Siming, you ungrateful wretch. Wang Xiao heard it but didn't give a damn. He instinctively quickened his pace. Seeing the villa gate right before his eyes, still hearing no gunshot, this made him heave a sigh of relief. It seems that guy really did intend to let me go. After walking a few dozen more steps to the villa entrance, he had reached this far. This was well beyond the range of a handgun. He was completely safe now. Wang Xiao felt an indescribable joy in his heart, but still uneasy, he turned his head to look back. The man with the gun had disappeared. Good, it's even better with no one pointing a gun at me. Wang Xiao relaxed his spirit. Now he could stride away freely. But just as he turned around, he saw someone looking at him with a squinting smile. The face looked very kind. But in Wang Xiao's eyes, at that moment, that kind smile was no different from a devil's grin. Heh, surprised? Are you shocked? Wang Xiao, we meet again. The familiar desert eagle was once again pointed straight at his forehead. The familiar scene repeated itself. Didn't you say you'd spare me? Wang Xiao was full of regret. Damn it, why the hell did I turn my head back? Wang Xiao, you're wrong about this. When I said I'd spare you earlier, I did spare you. This is our second meeting after all. Wang Xiao was completely stunned. A chill instantly shot from his feet to the top of his head. You never had any intention of sparing me from the start. Wang Xiao, after reacting, was bursting with rage. His whole body trembled with fury. I shook my head, ending the game right here. I have to admit, teaching this famous young master a lesson was quite interesting. Wang Xiao, it's time to go. Accompanied by the sound of a gunshot, Wang Xiao, who had just tried to turn and run, collapsed to the ground. Inside the villa courtyard, after witnessing the whole process of me toy with Wang Xiao, everyone shivered with a cold chill. One guy was even so scared that he peed his pants, along with a rising smell of urine. 7 internet hot girls were dragged out of the room. All instinctively backed away. Looking closely, it was Lin Go, who was scared witless and peed himself. Truly a useless excuse for a man. The faces of those hot girls were filled with clear contempt. They thought this big star was something special. Turns out he was just all show and no substance. Completely useless. I didn't expect it either. Lin Go, the one dubbed as the Iron Man, being scared like that by just a little threat from me, and losing all his dignity like that. Those online promotional tricks really can't be trusted at all. I told Taiju to throw this guy out of Villa number 1. I don't want to keep this kind of trash here, wasting my food and resources. I turned my head to look at Lang Feng's group. There were about a dozen of them, still being held in check by my flying daggers. Not a single person dared to move. Seeing my gaze sweep over them, Lang Feng's security team immediately grew tense. They understood perfectly well that at this moment the person in front of them needed only a single word to decide their fate. Actually, not even a word was needed. Just a single thought would be enough. Any intent to resist had been extinguished by Lang Feng's group from the start, because doing so would be like complaining they weren't dying fast enough, especially after witnessing what happened to Wang Xiao just now. They dared not move even more. Before I could even speak, Taiju suddenly ran over from the side. Brother Zhang Wei, can you spare them? Earlier, it was Lang Feng who intentionally let us go. Otherwise, we would never have escaped this villa island. They were only following orders from that Wang Siming guy. Seeing the simpleton Taiju pleading for them, I smiled and nodded along. Of course, that's fine. Actually, I didn't intend to kill Lang Feng's group from the beginning. After all, during the entire battle just now, Lang Feng's group hadn't even had the chance to resist. You guys want to follow me? As the security team captain, Lang Feng is a Tier 2 ability user. His combat capability is quite decent. Among the remaining guards, there are also a few Tier 1 ability users. Recruiting them to guard via number 1 is a good idea. That way, I won't have to handle everything personally. As for worrying about Lang Feng's group rebelling, as long as my strength remains dominant here, there is nothing to fear. I believe the supernatural methods I used just now to teach Wang Xiao a lesson has sufficiently deterred them with great force. As expected, as soon as I finished speaking, I saw the entire security team heave a sigh of relief. Lang Feng, their leader, immediately agreed, fine. They are all professional security guards. It doesn't matter who they follow. At least they still maintain their professional ethics. None of the other guards had any objections either. On the contrary, everyone looked rather happy. The vice captain, Song Yan, and Lang Feng also felt a glimmer of hope rekindled. Following this Zhang Wei in front of them is still much better than following that playboy young master, who only knows how to chase women all day long. He's clearly stronger, All right then. Your jobs will remain the same as before. Just guard this villa number 1, and that's enough. In the future apocalypse, as long as I, Zhang Wei, have food, then you guys won't go hungry either. Satisfied smile also appeared on my face. Updated. A new chapter of Apocalypse Scoundrel is out. By now, night is fallen. Fortunately, Leng Feng's group had already cleared out the zombies around Villa number 1 beforehand. It's all clean now. Otherwise, with such loud noises, it would surely attract a swarm of zombies. Leng Feng's group has, over the years, become quite accustomed to the life of security guards. They usually wouldn't stay inside Villa number 1 located halfway up the mountain. This was my requirement. With great power, I am not like that young Master Wang. I desire a more private space. Inside this villa, except for me, only my women are allowed in and out. So I arranged for Leng Feng's group to stay in the villas. Number 2 and number 3 nearby. These 2 villas originally had residents, but before Jan Wei arrived, Wang Xiao had already ordered them to be kicked out. Now they are empty, perfect for my use. I arranged it this way, also because these 2 villas, number 2 and number 3, have extremely strategic geographical locations, situated right on both sides of the road, creating a perfect checkpoint for the only path up the mountain. Any movement will be noticed by them immediately, and they can respond in time, providing an effective guarantee of absolute security. Outside the gate of Villa number 1, there are also 2 guard posts. I told Taiju's group to temporarily move there. At the present moment, I still trust Taiju's group the most. After a simple dinner, Taiju's group set to work, clearing the debris inside Villa number 1. Fortunately, earlier I showed mercy and didn't kill all the guards in Villa number 1. So there were too many casualties. Simple bandaging was all that was needed. All the necessary medical supplies could be found right inside Villa number 1. Speaking of supplies, one cannot overlook the villa. This high-class residence of Wang Xiao, I held my women close and took a tour around Yang Mi's massive villa. According to those in the circle, this villa cost Wang Xiao a massive fortune to complete its construction. Stepping through the door reveals an enormous living room. This living room alone, I estimate it to be over 100 square meters. The living room is so spacious, it's probably as big as the houses of you handsome guys watching the screen. The interior style is minimalist, yet luxurious and refined. Under the warm orange gold lighting, the space becomes incredibly cozy and pleasant. On a large wall hangs a 200-inch ultra-high-definition TV, used for movies or studying. It truly provides a realistic feeling to every millimeter. No need to even sit on the sofa. Just looking at the glossy leather is enough to know they are all rare high-end items. To the left of the entrance is a bar counter, displaying many precious and expensive liquors. Even an 82 red wine isn't high class enough to be here. And to the right is a Japanese-style kitchen, a modern open design directly connected to the living space. Bai Jia felt extremely satisfied seeing this kitchen. Since becoming my woman, she has handled all the cooking and logistics herself, and looking forward to seeing this beauty, wearing an apron and showing off her skills in this kitchen. Early the next morning, Jia Yi woke me up and pulled me down to the living room. At this moment, a girl was sitting in the middle of the room. The girl had short hair, just looking from behind, was enough to exude the purity of a young maiden. Ding, scanned. A top-tier Japanese goddess fitting the system's requirements. Goddess, Sui Ming Mei Bo. Overall score, 98. Current favorability, 40. Reaching 60 will activate the goddess encyclopedia. Mabin's count, 0. Introduction, a beautiful 18-year-old girl. Pure appearance, top-tier short hair, perfectly matches the system. Requirement, host should activate the goddess encyclopedia soon. Seeing the system notification, I immediately recognized this girl. Sui Ming Mei Bo. I looked at Jia Yi with surprise. I suddenly remembered that, among those hot girlfriends yesterday, I didn't see her there at all. Where did you guys find her? Right in a third-floor bedroom. We saw her when cleaning up early this morning. Jia Yi explained as she spoke. Besides, she's been sitting here waiting for you since she woke up. Waiting for me? Full of doubt, I stepped in front of Mei Bu. Looking at her from this close made me feel the value of this top-tier Japanese beauty even more. Truly lives up to her reputation. However, what surprised me the most was, before I could even speak, this beautiful Japanese girl only took one look at me. The next second, she dove into my arms and called out, Oni-chan. I froze for 5 seconds. What on earth? When did my charm become so terrifying? To the point a girl would throw herself at me like this. Jia Yi, standing behind, was also stunned. As for this name, Sui Ming Mei Bo, even someone who ignores entertainment like Chen Jia Yi had heard her name more than a few times. When did my man manage to win her over? I saw Jia Yi's strange look and knew she was overthinking things again. Jia Yi listened to my explanation, but I couldn't even move at that moment. Although Mei Bo has a small and lovely figure, her heart is incredibly vast. Her small hands were tightly clutching my waist. This girl is actually quite strong. Even through layers of clothing, I could still feel her passion and her extreme excitement. What's this all about? Although I'm naturally very confident, I'm not blindly so. I think I'm just a little bit more handsome. With a slightly better build, a few more hidden talents, and a bit more personal charm, that's all. In other aspects, I think I'm quite ordinary. Of course, how could I compare to the handsome viewers before the screen? An ordinary man like me, causing the famous Japanese beauty to offer herself up. Aside from sheer luck until now, I can't think of any other reason. Ding. This is due to the reward the host received last night, which is the seductive aura. Seductive aura? Under the influence of the seductive aura, it rapidly accelerates the process of goddesses, increasing their favorability toward the host. Furthermore, Sui Ming Mei Bo in front of me, acting this way toward the host, is also due to other personal reasons. Other reasons? I frowned in thought. Just then, Mei Bo finally let go of my waist with her small hands. She looked up at me with teary eyes. Her skin was snowy white and smooth. Her facial features were exquisite, like a perfect masterpiece of nature. This fragile appearance would melt anyone's heart. At this moment, I must admit, I have absolutely no bad intentions toward her. Well, I purely just want to hold her in my arms. To protect and cherish her. Konnichiwa. I was about to ask, when Mei Bo first knew of me, but I hesitated. Only words like Yamate popped into my head, or similar phrases from my previous lessons. It's really a disadvantage being bad at foreign languages. After a moment of embarrassment, I still had to rely on the translation skills of the strong Jia Yi. Asking why she knows Japanese? She took extra classes back in university. I almost forgot. Jia Yi is fluent in 8 languages. Heh. The world of smart people is truly different. A bad student like me could never understand it. But what I least expected was, a mental shock was still waiting for me. Oni-chan, Mei Bo can understand Chinese. Mei Bo gave a sweet smile. I felt like the entire living room brightened and warmed up. I'm impressed, truly impressed. This time, my heart was really captured. However, when Mei Bo talked about the reason she hugged me immediately upon meeting, I was completely stunned. At this point, another chapter of Apocalypse Scoundrel is out. Talking to Mei Bo now, I found out. Everything I did at Villa Number 1 last night was all seen by her. Through the enhancement from the system's potion, my body already far exceeded normal human limits. My appearance and physique also accidentally changed significantly. Because of that, Mei Bo had a good initial impression of me since last night. Plus, the effect of the seductive aura today is why she dove into my arms as soon as we met. Of course, I believe there's another reason, which is the inherent nature of admiring the strong. In Japanese women from birth. As for Mei Bo's personal reason mentioned by the system, it turns out she has something to ask of me. Oni-chan, can you take Mei Bo home? Mei Bo is so worried about Ota-san and Oka-san. This is the real reason why Mei Bo has such high favorability toward me. However, what makes my head hurt a bit is, this girl sobs and cries in my arms at every turn. And because of her vast heart, I am also falling into a state of pain, but full of bliss. Right after that, Bai Ji and the other women approach one by one to soothe and comfort this youngest sister. Compared to the comfort of men, which is usually expressed through strength, the comfort between women brings a much more gentle and understanding effect. They not only know how to soothe men with their uniqueness, but can also empathize with other women. The effectiveness is truly much better. Just a moment later, Mei Bo, thanks to the soothing from Jia Yi's group, started smiling again. She also spoke up to introduce herself and why she appeared in this place. My name is Sui Ming Mei Bo, from Kyoto, Japan. Mei Bo's Chinese is still a bit broken in some places, but everyone could still understand her main points. According to what Mei Bo said, when the apocalypse struck, she was with Wang Xiao for promotional activities in China. That's why she ended up all alone in a foreign land, having to survive in this unfamiliar place. As for that young master Wang, she truly had no romantic feelings for him whatsoever. Mei Bo-chan, rest assured, when there's an opportunity, I will definitely take you home. Receiving my firm promise, Mei Bo was moved beyond words. She absolutely believed that the Oni-chan in front of her is fully capable of doing that. Thank you, Oni-chan. Mei Bo will definitely repay Oni-chan properly. Right after saying that, she once again made me clearly feel her passionate gratitude. Ding. Congratulations, host, Japanese goddess Sui Ming Mei Bo. has increased her favorability toward the host by 20 points. Current favorability is 60. To be able to reach the activation level for the goddess encyclopedia so quickly. This girl is truly too innocent. However, I still have some conscience. If possible, I will definitely take Mei Bo back to her hometown. After finishing breakfast, I stepped out into the yard and released my telekinetic sensing ability. Only then did I realize the truly massive scale of this villa. With my current sensing range, I could only cover the main structure of it. Villa number 1, more accurately, is like an estate, even a large manor, and this is definitely no ordinary mansion. It should be classified as a fortress in the apocalypse. It's surrounded by towering walls, with a high-voltage electric fence on top. I just saw a hydroelectric power station in the basement. It seems all the energy for this place is supplied from there. The entire manor is filled with greenery and fountains, a truly eye-pleasing sight, just as I stepped out of the main villa gate. There were 2 security guard posts right there. By now, Taiju's group were all in their duty positions. Guns and necessary equipment were ready in their hands. The moment they saw me come out, they greeted me enthusiastically. Brother Zhang Wei, good morning. You guys are on duty so early. It's only 9 a.m. right now. It sounds early, but it really isn't anymore, yeah. We promised you yesterday, so we must follow through. Taiju gave a very sincere smile, with clear determination in his eyes. The other security brothers shared the same attitude. However, looking at the rosy complexions of some of them, perhaps last night those girls of Wang Shao had to exert quite a bit of effort. I let out a soft smile. This Taiju guy might be a bit simple, but he truly gives me a very reliable feeling. Appearing before my eyes right now is Taiju's ability status panel. Ability user, Zhao Tiju. Ability, 100-fold body fortification. Fortification system. Level, Tier 2 early stage. Favorability, 82. Realize that my favorability system has been upgraded. Previously, I could only see scores for goddesses, but now I can observe other ability users as well. The favorability levels also differ slightly from the goddesses. 0 to 60 is considered normal level, while 60 to 100 is high loyalty level. With things like this, friends and enemies will always be as clear as day. While I was busy checking information, Song Yan suddenly ran over in a panic. Oh no, Brother Zhang Wei, people are coming to seize this place. Brother Song, what happened? Full of questions, I looked at Song Yan running frantically toward me. In his role as vice captain of the security team, he was already familiar with other residents in this villa area. Song Yan was out of breath. Through his story, Zhang Wei finally grasped the whole story. The entire Jade Dragon Island has 100 villas total. There are 20 villas on Jade Dragon Mountain, and 80 villas at the foot of the mountain. The people who own villas here are at the very least bosses with hundreds of billions in assets. Villa number 1 is situated right on the side of Jade Dragon Mountain. Previously, because Wang Shao relied on his power having men with guns, he intended to monopolize this entire villa island, plundering supplies from the moguls on the villa island. Just like what Tiaju and the others mentioned earlier. Before he arrived, Principal Wang ordered Leng Feng's security team to kick out all the owners of the 20 villas, up on that mountain, clearing them all out completely. Anyone who didn't listen was ruthlessly killed by young Master Wang. He originally planned to continue evicting the residents at the foot of the mountain today, but unexpectedly, before he could even make his move, to evict the villa owners down the mountain, I had already finished him off. According to my guess, perhaps it was because of the commotion last night that made those mobiles down the mountain hear the news that young Master Wang was dead, so now they dare to use the excuse of fairly distributing supermarket supplies and seeking revenge. For the deceased owners to gather their forces and surround this place. Hearing this, I glanced at Song Yan standing in front of me. So, you want me to take the fall for the sins you committed? Song Yan scratched his head in embarrassment. But I somewhat understood them. They were merely following orders. Still, I felt a bit annoyed. When Principal Wang was still alive, these people didn't dare to make a peep. They couldn't hide fast enough. Who would dare speak of revenge? Now that I've just killed young Master Wang, these people immediately rush here to cause me trouble. Do they think I'm a pushover? By the way, what's this about the supermarket supplies? Speaking of this, Song Yan became even more embarrassed. It turns out, there is a large-scale supermarket on this villa island. But when young Master Wang brought us here, he immediately ordered us to loot the whole place and forced us to move all the goods, from the supermarket to the basement of Villa number 1, right into that storage room. I immediately understood the situation. That mountain of supplies I saw earlier. Part of it was indeed plundered from the supermarket. I'm even more speechless now. So this is another mess you've made. Song Yan could only nod awkwardly. I now fully understand the whole story. Since Principal Wang died at my hands, these people are now venting all their rage onto me. Do I really look like such a pushover? Do they really think I'm some living Buddha chanting prayers all day? While we were talking, I arrived at the foot of the mountain with Tiezhu and the others. Looking from afar, there was a sea of people. There must have been around 100 or 200 of them, far exceeding the number of survivors on the mountain before. After all, not every villa was occupied, and not every villa owner could survive for half a month. Since the apocalypse broke out, this number is already quite impressive. I let out a cold laugh. Are they here to scavenge from me? I don't believe there aren't people among them trying to fish in troubled waters. I scanned the situation at the foot of the mountain with my telekinesis. Everything came into clear view. At this moment, a dense crowd was blocking the entrance at the foot of the mountain. Quite a few of them were brandishing weapons, creating a tense standoff. Against Lang Feng's security team on the opposite side, they are all wealthy and successful moguls. Getting a few guns for self-defense wouldn't be difficult for them. And most importantly, there were a few awakened individuals among the crowd. Plus, they were relying on their superior numbers. Otherwise, Lang Feng's security team would have acted long ago. Leading them was an elegant man wearing glasses. Isn't this banana man Shen Feng the Great Shen? The corner of my mouth couldn't help but curl into a contemptuous smile.